BJ Nix, are you here?
Present.
Present. Spoonie, Timothy Spoonie.
Present, sir.
Margaret and Mary. Do we have a Margaret and Mary?
Yes. Cool. And the margaritas.
All right. Class here. We're ready. Let's go.
Yes, let's go.
Okay.
This is the time to line up behind your team, to support your team. Have faith in that team.
You know, it's peaks and valleys. You know, it can't always be good. And as I always tell people, you're never as good as you think you are, and you're never as bad as you think you are. But when we do know about
house call, Trevon Diggs pick six. It's coming. They see it. Knocked away. Oh, Gregory. Hurts in trouble. 3 Cowboys wrap him up, make it 4. Micah Parsons is unblockable.
Man, what is going on, Cowboys Nation? What is going on, Pick Six family? Maybe y'all know the drill. It's Freestyle Friday. Episode 6 in the building. Episode 6, and we're going to have a full complement of people coming through tonight. I can feel it. I mean, we're already starting out before we got Spoonie in the building. Obviously, couldn't be here last Friday. Had a little anniversary stuff going on. Once again, happy anniversary, brother. Hope everything went well. And then, you know, we got Cam to get back home from parts unknown.
Yep.
And she's here, finally.
Who the hell knows where she's at next?
But she's here now. That's all that matters, ladies and gentlemen. And of course, the one and only Professor O. How are we doing, brother?
It's a Friday. I'm excited to be here. Really looking forward to this show. I like our Wednesday shows. Our Wednesday shows are, the Cowboys-oriented shows where we have a schedule, we have topics lined up. We're ready to go. Friday's just a little bit more relaxed, easygoing, so it's fun. You never know who's going to stop by. And, Dom, I agree. She makes us look handsomer. So, Cam, thank you for your presence.
Come in. And look, she's got to come here and clean us up some. You feel me? She has to clean us up a little bit. Real quick, man, let me just kind of roll through here. Bruce in the building. What's going on, Bruce? Toxic Tom Downey's in the building. What's going on? Welcome. I got Sam's going to be joining us here in a little bit. Y'all know he was here last week. That was a fun time with him. I got Jackson in the building, and I'm with you, Jack. He said, man, football's here, and thank the Lord. That part. I'm definitely here for that. Tex Meals in the building. What's going on, Tex? And hey, guess what? Caleb says, howdy, everyone. New here, just checking it out. Now, Caleb, I'm going to guess you, since you're new here, you hit the sub, and on Freestyle Fridays, we have a particular thing that we do here for everyone that's in the building. Somebody comes in on Fridays and hit the subs. Y'all know what you got to do. You got to drop the fire emojis and welcome him to the Pick Six family. So go ahead and light up the chat with the fire emojis for our guy, Caleb. He was actually over there with us and had some great content, some great questions out there from Oklahoma. He was actually over there with the space and transferred over here. So shout out to Caleb, man. Welcome to the crew, if you will. I got Robertson in the building. Let's go. Everybody else, I got to scroll here real quick. Our girl Jazz came over. Look at Jazz. What's up, Jazz? How we doing? She came through the building as well. So shout out to Raheem in the building as well, too. And, of course, I got Haley94 Wares in the building. What's going on, man? Told you earlier, you never knew who's going to come through on Fridays. We had Tuck come through. We had Vach come through last week. We got Camber, again, parts unknown. We got her back in the building. We have a special guest though tonight. My brother from another. Mr. Big Game James is in the building. What's going on, Big Game?
What's going on? Can everybody hear me?
Yeah, loud
sound
and clear,
good.
brother.
All right, cool. How's everybody doing, man? Feel good at being invited on, man. I just the big six, whatever it's called. I feel good. I feel great.
Well, we were actually inboxing about a week or so ago about getting back and forth, and of course, my guy Professor got with you, and we made it happen tonight. Always a fun time, whether over here with us or we get a chance to go over there with you. It's always a fun time. But you know what it is though, right now. That's why everybody's a little hyped though.
Yeah.
We about a week ago, we could smell training camp. Earlier this week, we could taste it a little bit. Right now on Friday, about 4 days away. Oh, we can feel training camp right now, brother. We can feel it coming in on us. You excited?
Yeah. I mean, I'm excited to a point. I'm gonna keep it real. You see, I'm excited to a point. I just want to see some things. I just want to see certain players really, there's some guys that need to step up early. There's some spots that are going to be open. So I think I'm more excited about the competition that's going to be in some certain positions. There are going to be some positions open. So I'm really intrigued to see who's going to step up and, who's going to really come to the forefront after training camp.
No doubt. And that's, we've had all these questions leading up to this moment. We've talked about it ad nauseum in all of our different lanes and in, private chats and everything else. But now we start getting some of the answers to the puzzle here. Some of these questions are going to start getting answered. And no, Robert, I told y'all last week, I'm not buying one. If one shows up on my doorstep, I'll rock it. Let me ask you, James, because it's a little free flowing here. Are you on, what's the name of the hat? Oh, Benucci, what's the brand
True
called?
Brand.
True Brand. Are you a fan of the upside down hats?
No.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I ain't hating. If somebody else wears it, I don't hate. You look good in it. Bang it. Wear it. All that good stuff. Me, I guess I'm just too old school with it. I'm the grandpa with it. Maybe I'm keeping it like this. I'm not wearing nothing upside down with no Cowboys. Nothing. I don't feel it. Even every time I see it, I'm like, wow. I ain't gonna lie. I say, wow. Cowboys upside down. It kind of throws me off.
Right. See, I'm with you. I'm not. Look, and again, I'm with you. I'm not hating. I've definitely I got into a point in life. Hey, it just ain't for me. Hey, if you like it, I'm excited that you like it. I ain't mad at it.
I love it for you.
I love that you love it.
I love it for you.
Hey man, I got to keep it. Look, I'm old. I'm not you. I'll be the other grandfather. I want that flat bill, man. That's where I'm at. Okay, I can't help it. That's where I'm at. Jazz, and they're gonna get on us. They were getting on me last week. Robert said he was gonna send me one. Robert, I'm gonna inbox you. If you send me one, Robert, I'll definitely make sure I've added to the hat collection this year. Like I said, I'm doing it each and every week. It's a new hat moving forward. I wear the same hat Wednesday, Friday. After that, it's gone. On show, on live, you ain't gonna see them no more. I'm gonna be king of the hats this year. We're gonna see what happens. But yeah, the upside down hats. So Cam, what about you? I mean, you wasn't here for the show. Are you a fan of the upside down hats? Are you a buyer of it?
I don't get it.
Okay.
I don't get it. I'm like, it's like they misprinted them. I don't know. I'm old school like that too. I'm like, okay. I mean, yeah, if you want to wear it, you wear it, you rock it. But
it just feels like it's missing something.
Right.
Because it's an arched Dallas, it looks like there should be. I know that maybe from branding standpoint, they can't get the rights to put the Cowboys logo, but it just feels like there should be something there, like their own company logo, like a TV or just something. It just looks like you mentioned, like it was misprinted. It's Ben DiNucci. Does that weigh into it at all for you guys? Like if it was another player that advertised it, I don't think it moves the needle at all to me. Like, because I just don't like the hat, so I don't really care if it was Dak's company or DiNucci.
Here's the thing, low key. I'm a Nucci man guy though. I like the swag from Nucci. Now I'm not saying I want to see him on the field, but there's things about him that I like. But yeah, no, I mean it doesn't like him quarterback wise and everything else. I'm not gonna be like, oh well, if he doesn't play no more for the Cowboys, I'll get one. I ain't doing all that. That's too much hating for me. As Cam says, it made a good point. It's like you said, it's a misprint. Back in the day, you would go to some of those thrift stores or whatever, and that's where like the misprint jerseys would end up and stuff like that. It have something missing or backwards or misspelled, and you would get it like, oh, it's dirt cheap. You know what I'm saying? I can go work out in this or something. It kind of feels that way. Spoon, you wasn't here last week either for the for that hat debacle that we were talking about.
I was here on Wednesday when we talked about it. Miss Mary, she got the hats. For me, I say I support it. It has to be the all black, navy blue, or the black and gray. But from New York, I like to be unique and be different. PO's right. I don't understand it. It's upside down. Can we call it maybe a Stranger Thing type thing where the world's upside down, Dallas upside down? I don't know, but it's different. It's just different.
Well, here's the thing. We're talking about Dallas upside down big game, James. I mean, it's been a while since we've been to a Super Bowl or an NFC Championship game, so I guess if they made it that way, it would be upside down a little bit, huh?
Well, I mean, whatever they got to do to get to the chip, I don't care. If they got to make it upside down, sideways, backwards, do flips, I don't care. We got to get there. That's all I know. So if that's the magic touch that they got to do to get it there, then upside down and all, then shoot them upside down hats all day.
Yeah. That's what it's going to take. We're here. Look, at that point, we're in and we're ready to rock. And me, Camber, and Big Game going to show up and do a whole show with that.
I mean, I do a whole upside down show. If we hit the chip, I'm wearing. I'll rock it. We in the chip. Right. You hear? I don't like that hat at all. We in the chip. You're going to see me rock that joker like no other.
Right.
See, James' threshold's a little bit higher because Nick said he'll wear one if we get to the divisional round. So one round
chips.
early. He's not even waiting for
the chips. I need chips. I need chips.
I'm grabbing for anything here, okay? I'm grabbing for anything here. But with that being said, I'm going to circle back to what you came in and talked about, some of these things that you're looking for in camp, James. What's the number one thing on your list that you want to see from the competition standpoint? Is there a particular position or player? What are you looking for?
There's a few positions that I maybe have some concerns about. The offensive line I mentioned and linebacker is two positions I've been kind of staring at. A lot of positions, even receiver. A lot of people have been ballyhoo with Jalen Tolbert. I think James Washington. We've been hearing that his spot may pretty much be safe, but we've been hearing how the TJ Vashers and, Simi Fehoko, they were looking okay in minicamp. So I think that's a competition I definitely have my eye on, especially with the TJ Vasher thing, because a lot of people were pumping him up, especially doing minicamp. And I've asked myself, is he a guy that really will be like probably the 6? And if he did get in there, slide in as the 6, would he actually be on game day roster? What his role would be? So those are the things I wonder about. Even with the linebacker position, they got Malik Jefferson. That was a Texas guy. I liked him, but is he going to be a guy that's really going to fill? I'm still wondering. We hear about Anthony Barton and the price might spike up. So, I wonder about those things. Defensive end, they brought Dante Fowler in. We got Dorrance Armstrong Jr. back in a couple, with the deal, and then you still have Sam Williams. So I wonder how that's going to integrate on that right side. Is Fowler going to be a starter? Is Dorrance Armstrong Jr.? How are they going to bring Sam Williams more as a pass rush specialist? Obviously Tyler Smith. He's been looking great. I mean, obviously we've seen the video and he's been looking tremendous to me.
Working with the right people, and he's working with the right people too.
Yeah, I mean, Tyler Smith looks really good. I mean, he looks like he's really dialed in. I'm really excited to see what he's going to do. I'm sure a lot of people already been talking about this, but I don't feel like left guard is going to be his spot. I feel like he will end up being the left tackle. If you look at his athletic ability, you see his feet. I feel like if he just continues to get the good teaching, I think he end up might being that guy there, and then we'll see. I wonder about what happens with Connor McGovern. So I guess those things that I mentioned right there are the kind of things that I'm kind of looking in my head. Kelvin Joseph, what's going to happen with him? I think this is an important year for him. Year 2, he was a second round pick. I think he needs to show something. So those are the type of things I guess I'm kind of looking at as they head into camp and keeping my eye on.
That's a big 10-4. I think first and foremost, guys, in case y'all don't know if you're new here and whatnot, at the very top, if you're on YouTube, if you're on Facebook, anywhere else, we appreciate y'all, and we would like for you to come over to YouTube and aggregate yourself over here and hit the old sub button. But at the pinned at the top of the YouTube side, there's a link here to join StreamYard. Y'all come up here and talk with us or whatnot. Be on camera, not on camera. It's easy. Cell phone, tablet, Mac, Windows, doesn't matter. Easy. You ain't got to download it. You just click it and come on. So just let you know, throughout this show, this is what the Freestyle Friday shows are about. We kind of take what we do in the spaces, but we do it over here on YouTube as well. So if you want to do that, by all means, move forward. Now, you covered a lot there, James. I was asking for one.
I didn't mean to.
A lot. You're excited. It's
I apologize. I went kind of crazy. I went machine gun on that one. Sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. Hey, but there is a lot of things here that we are, looking at as it's coming into training camp season for us. I'm going to pick one out of the things you said. Okay. I'm going to start with wide receiver real quick. Obviously, we had what Amari Cooper said on the radio today a little bit about CeeDee Lamb and being ready day one and about the opportunities that Kellen Moore maybe had to design for him. But I think I'm going to pivot a little bit. We'll get to those comments. I do want to get to those comments, but I want to pivot a little bit to the fact that one thing I think has been lost in the sauce in a lot of ways that a lot of people, when they talk about the wide receiver position, is tight ends catch the ball, guys. And your de facto number 2, especially while Gallup is out, is going to be Dalton Schultz. That's just what it is. We saw it last year with Dak and what he was doing with him there. Year before that with the injury and whatnot, but we still saw the numbers he put up and whatnot. But I think de facto, especially until Gallup gets back, and we had to see what Tolbert does, I mean, Schultz is your number 2. So it helps lessen the blow, but there's still depth concerns there.
Yeah,
I like it. I was going to see if anybody jumped in. Everybody said, okay.
I was letting them. I said my little thing. I wanted to hear them guys out. I wanted to hear them guys.
Yeah, jump on in there, Camber.
You want me to what I'm looking for in camp, or
well, just the wide receiver position.
Oh, why?
We'll go through everything. We're going to call this Big Game James's rundown of camp. We're going to go through all of them. That's what we're going to do. We're going to start with the wide receiver, and then we'll go through the rest.
Okay, because there was a lot going on.
There was a lot. Look, here's what Big Game did for us. He set us up.
Right.
He set us up. He set us up. No, you good. You good. I like it. You set us up. I like it.
Honestly, and shockingly, he didn't hit 2 that I'm looking for. But we'll circle back around to that. Wide receiver position. I mean, I think our starters right now, it's going to be Lamb, Washington, and Tolbert. And well, I take that back. I think there's going to be a battle between Brown and Washington in that factor. And then we're going to have to question: are we going to carry 5 wide receivers, and is it going to be Simi? I mean, are we going to have a battle for that 4th, 5th position between Simi and Vasher? And is it Brown or Washington that's going to be battling out? But my feeling right now is definitely we're going to be starting Lamb and Tolbert.
Okay. All right. Spoony, wide receiver position. I know we talked about this a little bit on the space, but go ahead and backdoor and go and jump on in there.
Oh, listen, I just want to find out who's going to take that torch. Is a spot open? Is a couple of spots open? Who's going to take that? One of these young guys. We hear me TJ Vasher with his size. He bulked up during the off season. We hear me some good things about him. We hopefully want to see him come in there and take that mantle and make that coaching room really have a conversation about him being the guy. Noah Brown's been here seemed like a long time. We would think that when Cedric, by him being not here no more, that he'll be the guy to take over. But there's a lot of competition back there. And I know in preseason, we definitely going to see during the games who's the guy they really like, and they can take over that 4th and 5th spot.
And anybody but Lamb for punt return. Anybody.
Facts.
I'm done, but I do not want my wide receiver 1 to be returning punts. And he wasn't. I'm just going to say it. He wasn't that great at it.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that's you're not wrong. Professor O, wide receivers here.
While we're talking punt returner, on our show Wednesday, we had a different kind of dark horse candidate on who we think should be the punt returner, or what I think should be the punt returner. We have a certain cornerback that we spent a 2nd round pick on who's not going to be one of our top 3 cornerbacks this year, and I want to get him on the field. He's dynamic with the ball in his hands. He's a great athlete. He was a 5-star prospect as a freshman. 5-star prospect as a high schooler, as a safety, and he was an elite punt kick return guy then. Obviously, he hasn't done it in a few years, but this is the perfect time in training camp to say, how can we utilize his skill set? Suspension or not, we don't know what's going to happen. But assuming he's going to play this year, why are we not using him there? Why don't we give him a shot in training camp and practice, see if he can still field punts? Because if he is, I'd rather utilize him there than Tolbert or CeeDee Lamb. And I don't think any of the other wide receivers outside of maybe Dontario Drummond really offer anything in the punt return game. So that's who I'm looking at. Last year, the talk was maybe Tony Pollard can do it. He's already the kick returner. But now Tony Pollard's taken a different role in our offense and what we're asking of him to do. So I don't want him to return punts anymore. So Kelvin Joseph, just for people who missed the show Wednesday, is a guy I think we should be considering. But going back to the wide receiver room, TJ Vasher is probably the biggest question mark I have right now because he offers something completely unique from the rest of the wide receiver room. His size and length, I think he has a 71-inch arm or wingspan. That's crazy. When he was in college, he made highlight reel catches, but he was also real thin. So he had a lot of issues bringing down contested catches. He could out jump people, so he could be a red zone weapon. But if he's getting hit while the ball's in the air, he dropped more of those than what you'd expect. But he's bulked up since then and put on some weight. So kind of what I'm looking at with him is I don't think he could be wide receiver 5 or 6 to justify his spot. He has to be wide receiver 4, where he's actually being used as a wide receiver. Because I just have a hard time fathoming a 6'5" wide receiver who, with his body frame being like a gunner on kickoff team or something like that. So in my mind, if they're going to utilize him, he's going to be wide receiver 4, which means you're now bumping either Simi Fehoko or Noah Brown or somebody like that, either off the roster completely or down the roster. Noah Brown, somebody we talked about last show too. So Noah's he's made his mark 2 ways in the NFL. He's a good run blocker and he's good on special teams, or at least that's the narrative. But we looked at the numbers.
I was going to say the narrative, right?
The last 2 years, he's played about 400 snaps of special teams and has made 2 tackles. I feel like I can find somebody else who's a down roster guy who can block well enough and make special teams tackles occasionally. So what he's doing is not elite enough for me to justify bringing him back unless he takes a step forward as a wide receiver. I know he's made the team and been here and he's kind of consistent, and everybody jokes that maybe he has pictures in the front office or something like that. But it kind of feels like his welcome's he's overstaying it. At some point, you're going to have to either take a step up or become a true Matt Slater type of guy where you're that good at special teams where you don't care about his roster spot, and he's not that good. So he's kind of an interesting guy to talk about. And then 2 of the dark horses we talk about a lot on the show in terms of undrafted free agents are Ty Freifogel and Dontario Drummond. Drummond has the ability to return punts. He was also utilized heavily in the screen game at Ole Miss. So being able to make plays quickly with the ball in his hands is something that's interesting. The downside to him is he's an old rookie. He's turning 25 years old in a month. Mm-hmm. So that's something to worry about. But he can play in the slot, and that's something Ty Freifogel can also do. So those are 2 guys I like if we're talking about down roster guys that are dark horses that could slip into the wide receiver 6 conversation. But they're going to have to justify the spot as a roster guy, especially guy.
But the thing with him even being old, I mean, he's basically the same age as Noah Brown at this point. He has the potential to give you more, because the one thing that I've complained about, this team just doesn't do enough when it comes to special teams matters, ladies and gentlemen, and the punt returning and doing something well there. And if he can do that and be a special teams contributor, I'm all for keeping him over Brown. But I want to kind of backdoor to what we talked about Wednesday, and you just brought up with Kelvin Joseph. If you're grooming for that role, let me do that. Is Kelvin Joseph going to miss any time in y'all's opinion? Quickly, James, yes? Okay, Cameron, you say yes? No, you're fine. You can't. How many do you think? 4 games, 5 games, 6 games, 2 games, 1 game?
4.
Any idea? 4? James?
4.
Joseph missing any games this year?
Yeah, I definitely feel he's going to miss games. I would say around that 2 to 4, between that 2 to 4 range.
Okay. Spoonie?
Yeah,
I think
Zeke will get 6 for it too.
I think it'll be 2 games.
Zeke will get 6. Camber, messy behavior there. Spoonie, how many games you think?
On the game, 2 to 4.
2 to 4. There. Okay. So y'all thinking maybe 4 games he appeals, maybe gets down to 2, maybe.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Maybe we'll see. We'll see what happens there. But even still, I just wanted to do something in general, whether it's him or not, or it's Drummond, whoever it is, somebody. Because they were using Tolbert back there as the punt returner a little bit, and it's like he's never returned punts. Like, I'm tired of just drafting a wide receiver. Remember Cole Beasley? He got drafted. He didn't return. They just drafted that guy.
Said Wilson. Yeah, he just
wasn't drafted.
Plug and play.
Said
Wide
Wilson,
receiver
right.
is your punt returner. That's what we do.
Right, and it's like, let's actually get somebody that can do it well, and actually help us in that hidden yardage area. To help this offense and this team a little bit more in the field position game, if you will. All right, so that was the wide receiver spot. I wanted to attack the DN spot, particularly the other side of D-Law. So I don't think it's going to be much of a. I don't really care who starts, in my opinion. I think it's going to be a heavy rotation. Who's going to get within that, with that concept in mind? Who do you think is going to get the majority of the snap percentages? It's going to be a rotation. We understand that. In y'all's mind, and I'll start with you, Spoonie, on this one. Who's going to get the lion's share, I guess, if you will, of the percentage of snaps opposite of D-Law and DN?
I say Dorrance Armstrong. I think they want to give him a shot. He signed for a 2-year deal. Damn, it's like I had that bet with you, BJ. I had that
You
bet
did?
with you.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna lean on Dorrance Armstrong first.
Okay. All right. Professor O.
I don't know that anybody really takes the lion's share, but I do think Dorrance Armstrong's going to get the first crack at starting. I wouldn't be shocked if Dorrance starts and Fowler plays more, or Dorrance starts and Fowler has more of an impact because he's going to be playing probably more likely in the pass rushing role. And then we're going to see Sam Williams sprinkled in too. And probably throughout the course of the season, we'll see that sprinkle a little bit more and more as the season goes across. Because from what he's able to do from solely from an athletic standpoint, they're going to try to find a way to utilize him. So I don't know that anybody's really going to be heavily used. I think it's going to be somewhere in that 45 to 55% of the snaps, and pick and choose based on the game and matchup. But I do think Dorrance is going to get the first crack at it.
Okay, real quick, we got a question flying in real quick, and of course, this is what the show's about. Get your questions in and whatnot as we're talking, and we're going to pivot to it. What they're going to do though here, my guy, you're on Facebook, and we appreciate you being on Facebook. If you can, just go ahead and slide on over to Pick Six Sports on YouTube and hit that sub if you can while you're here. What's taking the league so long to announce the suspension for Joseph? I would say, in my opinion, it's just they got a lot of fires right now. They got a quarterback situation with Deshaun Watson. They got the Washington situation with the owner. There's a lot of things that are going on, so he's kind of down the pecking order right now. As they get closer to the season, they start putting some things together. I think we'll see some things happen. But the first thing they got to solve is the Deshaun Watson situation moving forward, in my opinion. And once that happens, then maybe we get some news on the Joseph situation. But appreciate you on Facebook, and you want to rock over there, that's fine. But if you want to, man, come on over to YouTube, hit that sub. Camber, what do you think?
I think Matt was completely right, and I don't think anybody's got the lion's share over there on that side. They're going to rotate through. I think Dan Quinn's going to make sure that, he's got two little pet cats there in Fowler and Sam, and I'm pretty sure he's going to want to develop Sam for sure. But I think it's going to be it's going to be rotational. And like you said, I think I think Spoon said Dorrance Armstrong gets first crack at it. He's going to start. But it's going to be pretty balanced.
Okay. And what about you brought it up talking about it. You said it's over this, James. Who's the guy you think is going to get the lion's share of those snaps over there opposite of D-Law?
Well, I mean, it's pretty obvious when you listen to everybody. The way Dan Quinn is working it, you've seen them bring back Dorrance Armstrong Jr. with the contract. So if he's coming back with the contract, obviously they feel like he did something. He had a career year pretty much across the board with his numbers. So I think they want to see what he can do probably in some starting action and see how he can get off the ball and probably see how it goes. And I do believe what Camber was saying about, Dan Quinn with his pet cat with Fowler, because he didn't get his opportunity with him being fired in Atlanta. So it was kind of like he didn't really get to touch him and really get to work with him like he wanted. So I think this was his golden opportunity to really get him back the way he wants. Now he's a defensive coordinator. Now he can use him how he wants and really, meticulously work with them. So I think you'll have Dorrance Armstrong Jr. starting, Fowler coming off as a pass rush guy, and then they kind of see how it goes. You know what I mean? Who's hot, who's going. If you watch how Quinn was going last year, he saw kind of people who were really kind of playing real hot, so he kept on playing them. I think that's how it goes right here. If Dorrance Armstrong is really turning up right then, I think he keep on staying with them.
Right.
If Fowler comes in and starts getting, get some good pass rushes, some pressures, then I think he incorporates them. But I think he can play both of them at the same time. I'm not for sure, but I believe Fowler played a little linebacker last year in that defense. So I think he may try to experiment with them two both coming off. And then with Sam Williams, obviously he really has a plan for him, but I feel like it's a slow plan. I feel like they want to develop and don't want to rush him into things because he has a lot to learn still. I mean, we love all the ability, but he still had a lot of inconsistencies that he needs to get down. He has the size to be like Dorrance DeMarcus Lawrence as far as being a guy who can set the edge because he's 260 pounds. So you have two guys like that. That's really good in the run game. But I think they want to bring him along slowly. He'll be kind of like a pass rush specialist. And I feel like he'll get those surprising sacks because you won't think because everybody else is playing, then you'll see Sam Williams got 2 sacks in the game. Everybody going to be going crazy. You feel me? So I think it's a plan. Dan Quinn is really excited. And I think it's going to be really exciting to see how he really rotates all those guys and how he comes, because I think he's really going to get real tricky with it and get confusing on these offenses.
Yeah,
I want to piggyback real quick on something that.
Bro, I just want to real quick. Let me get in there real quick on the answer. Yeah, I think it's going to be wildly different just because I think they're going to attack this thing a little bit. I think Fowler coming in, you kind of get you back into the standing outside rushing. We talk about that Leo position that he likes so much, and you kind of look at what they did across the defensive line with Gallimore and these guys getting the old offseason peanut butter. Sam Williams, you look at him at SEC, right? 3 defensive linemen and what he did playing on the 3 defensive linemen. I think they have opportunity to be a little bit more multiple with the pieces they have, and it allows Dan Quinn to cook a little bit more. Dorrance Armstrong, I agree. I think he'll get the first crack at it, and then we'll kind of move through that. But I really do think we're going to see a lot more possible in rushing situations, a lot more standing from guys that are going to be rushing the quarterback with 3 down linemen this year than we saw last year from Dan Quinn. Go ahead, Al.
Yeah, I was just going to piggyback off of James' comment with Dante Fowler and Dan Quinn. So keep in mind, too, when he was brought into the Falcons, they gave him a 3-year, $45 million deal. He was brought in to be their primary pass rusher, to be this big impact maker, and he had injuries. He was injured every year that he was there. He tried to play through injuries, but he was never fully healthy. So coming into Dallas where he's not being asked to be that guy to go get double-digit sacks takes pressure off of him. Having a guy like Tank opposite of him takes pressure off of him. Having a Micah Parsons on the defense to take some of those double teams away takes pressure off of him. So there's a lot of things that set up Fowler to be able to have to be an impact player again that he didn't have when he was in Atlanta. He had nobody opposite of him that was causing the offense to shift blocking assignments that way or taking extra attention from running backs. He was the guy getting chipped by tight ends before releasing when he was healthy. So I think it just adds a different dynamic to what Fowler in Dallas is going to be versus Fowler in Atlanta. Because again, the contract's different, but he's being utilized on a defense that's more versatile. He has a defensive coordinator who's going to be able to maximize his capabilities, but more importantly, he's going to have better talent around him. And when you have those complementary pieces, it makes it a lot easier as a pass rusher to get home.
Right, and he was brought in after Beasley left, right? Like Beasley left, and he was the replacement for Beasley. Right. And going back to your point, and a little proof in the pudding there, whenever Fowler was out there with the Rams and more talent around him, as you're talking about, he did produce a 10.5 sack season. So there's definitely a lot of things that are in that pot that could be a very good year for him here in Dallas moving forward. Our guy Toxic Tom's in the building says he's got a question. Is Kellen Moore going to learn to adapt his game plan and not be so predictable / bland? Camber?
Well, he did those first 6 games of last year, and then the wheels fell off. I mean, I just don't even want to mention that front office. But okay. Again, I think it's going to be whoever's above him pulling the strings and telling him what he can and can't do. Because that was a Jekyll and Hyde offensive coordinator job we saw last year. His first 6 games, he could do no wrong, basically, and then everything went to hell.
Okay. Well, I'll pivot over here. James, what do you think?
He better. That's all I can say. I mean, he better. I mean, you got all the flame on you. You had Super Bowl quarterbacks busting you out. I mean, you got everybody calling you out. So I feel like if people are calling you out, don't you feel like you have to get better, right? Because the bullseye is on you. Everybody's watching you. So I would feel like you would have to get better and would adapt. I think one of the issues that people were having with Kellen Moore was that, like Camber was saying, the first 6 weeks, it was very dynamic. And then once people started figuring it out, there was no combination that, you figured that blow out, but I'm going to come with this blow. That's, I think, what a lot of frustration was, that it still kept on being the same repetitious thing, even though people know what you're doing. It's kind of like you playing the Madden game and you killing your opponent all the time. Now he done figured out your offense. Now you try to throw that pass over there and he's blocking it. Okay, now you got to be able to change up the offense, right? Or you going to get blown. If you still going to keep on trying to force that pass and not do it 2 times and come back to it the 3rd time. We know that formation. I'm gonna get you, right? We seen that when you play the game. So that's what it kind of is. So yeah, I would hope that he does. I would think that he does. I mean, he is a little bit young. I know that's not an excuse, but just like I'm going to just bounce off what Cambridge says, I don't want to mention that front office, but I do feel like they do have hands. They do. When they say, oh, we don't have no decision making on what the offense does. Yes, you do, because I talked to a quarterback a few times and he said Jerry Jones was in quarterback meetings. So I don't believe what Stephen Jones be saying about that. I do feel like they have a hand on who gets what. And okay, you're going a little bit too much that way. I don't see why they wouldn't be able to put their hand in and say, do this. And then the guy below them says, okay, what's he going to say? No. So I feel like that's the issue. And that's what we're always going to wonder, if it's going to be a consistent thing with this Kellen Moore, because they treat him sometimes to me like boy wonder.
There. Professor O?
I mean, the first sentence that James had pretty much sums it up. He's a guy that 3 straight off seasons now has interviewed for head coaching jobs. To be fair, he did have opportunities from Washington, Boise State. He could have went the college route, but he's interviewed for NFL head coaching jobs 3 years in a row. There was, 10 head coaching changes this year? He didn't get one. He had the number 1 offense in the league, and nobody in the league said, we feel comfortable letting you lead our organization. So it depends on what he wants to be. Being a young offensive coordinator who can be in your bag at times is great, but you have to be consistent. You have to show you're able to deal with adversity. Things go wrong, you lose players, you have to change around your offensive philosophy. You have to be able to adapt. And so far, he hasn't shown that ability to do so. We talked about it a lot on this show and a lot of the Twitter spaces too. It really, to me, feels like Kellen Moore is at his best when we can play 12 personnel. When we don't have those 2 tight ends, everything changes. Now, you don't have to be 12 personnel heavy, but if you're in that 30% ratio, that changes things. And the reason that does is nickel defense is basically the base defense around the NFL nowadays. Teams are in nickel and dime significantly more than they are on base. Why that matters is, how many teams in the NFL have 3 linebackers who can cover well? How many teams have 2 linebackers that can cover well? Not a lot. So if you can force a defense to be in base, suddenly it opens everything up for the offense, because you make the defense have to choose. Do I want to play my nickel formation against your 12 personnel, and now I have the size disadvantage to help me in the coverage game, or do I want to match up with the bigger bodies of my base defense, but now I'm more of a liability in coverage? When you're in 11 personnel, which is what a lot of teams do, it spreads the field, but it also makes it a little bit harder to run if you're playing against a stout front 7. And kind of some numbers to back that up. 11 personnel last year, defenses league-wide were in base formation against 11 on 2.4% of the snaps. When they were against 12 personnel, it was 55% of the time. So basically, you add that extra tight end, it completely changes the personnel grouping that you're going against and allows you to attack that in different ways. So I think for Kellen Moore, it's easier for him to do that because it brings the bodies in. It allows you to have more coverage mismatches, and it's easier to scheme a wide receiver going into a linebacker's zone and take advantage of that. So for whatever reason, I don't know why he hasn't been able to marry multiple personnel groupings together, but it seems like that was one of the big issues. And it was mentioned in the chat by Ultra, but when Jarwin went down last year, the 12 personnel usage dropped, and our entire offensive effectiveness or efficiency dropped at that point too. So I think it's worth bringing up. Having a second tight end, whether it's McEwen who steps through the door, Ferguson, whoever that is, I think Kellen needs that right now at this point in his maturation as an offensive coordinator. So again, summing all of it back up, if he doesn't get better now, when is he going to be an NFL head coach? If that's his goal, does he just want to be an offensive coordinator forever? Because teams will let you stay for a while, but at some point they're going to say, that's great, but we need to step forward. We have to take the next leap. We cannot continue to have status quo where you start out hot the first 3 to 6 games of the year, great, and then we go through a rut, and then we pick it up at the end of the season. We just need that consistency on a weekly basis. So I know that was a lot to say, but I do think 12 personnel will help him if he's able to adapt as a play caller. I don't know. We'll have to see.
Right. I mean, and the crazy thing is, right, 3 years as the offensive coordinator, he's got the number 1 offense as long as Dak's standing upright. That's just what it is.
Right.
And then, of course, on the back end of that, though, this is kind of where the context matters to a certain extent. We still have some middling issues in what we're talking about because if he's not in the 12 personnel and different things that he needs to get to. I've said a bunch on the spaces. I don't know if I said it here. If you go to the Kurt Warner tape and the breakdown, it's about a 40 to 45 minute long tape review that he did of the playoff game against the Niners. It really shows some of the deficiencies in his scheme versus zone coverages, and the fact that he doesn't do enough variances in the routes that allowed Warner to really just take away the other side and what they want to do. As soon as the running back just went to the flat, he was like, "Oh yeah, that's cool. That cornerback's there. Boom, I'm over here and I'm taking away the slot. Boom, boom." I mean, every time, multiple times you saw that. The great thing though about Kellen Moore is he is young. I don't think he's the best as coordinator or play caller he's going to be in his entire career, but the issue, I think, and we've talked about this, Spoon, on the space before we came on, not Camber as well. We're in such a win now mode with this team. We don't have time for Kellen Moore to figure it out. And I think that's really the angst and the issues in a lot of ways with this fan base and things that are happening that, hey, you, as James and O said, you better. Doesn't matter if you got them 2 number 1 offenses. It hasn't produced enough. And you got to figure out those schemes and do those different things. Spoony, I'll let you put the cap right here on this question from our guy, Toxic Tom Downey.
Well, I'm gonna go look back in the days. You know, coaching tree matters, and when we look at Sean Payton, who has he worked under? Bill Parcells, right? And there's a lot of there's a lot of coaches who have worked under Bill Parcells as assistants and had success in the NFL. Okay, so when you look at Mike McCarthy, I believe it's Bill Walsh, Steve, forgot his name, from the 49ers, and those guys. Not too much success, but they have turnaround teams, turnaround plays, careers. When you look at Kellen Moore, let's be honest. Jason Garrett, Scott Linehan. I mean, let's be honest. That's garbage. It's no good. We're here trying to do keep playing with the project experiment with Kellen Moore, but we wasting talent where everybody's been saying we have the best talented football team in the NFL, but what are we doing with it? We're playing around with it. Now, and again, you bring in McCarthy in. He's, in my opinion, the best coach since Parcells. Since Parcells, somebody who has won, somebody here who has Aaron Brooks, somebody who has turned around a quarterback like Aaron Brooks and made him a solid quarterback for New Orleans. Those are the type of things we want for Dak Prescott. Dak hasn't had a good coaching tree around him, in my opinion. He's a better quarterback under Mike. The only way for Kellen Moore, in my opinion, to learn how to be a better OC and a better coach and learn how to adapt, learn how to play that checkers and chess matchup with the opposing teams, Mike McCarthy is it.
You messy O. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Mike McCarthy has to be more involved in the offense that can help Kellen Moore adjust and grow, in my opinion. But it's like Ms. Campbell in the big games came and said earlier, the front office is too much involved. They're too much involved. And we learned that when Mike McCarthy's press conference, where he came out and said he installed it, he calls it. There's the same thing that Jason Garrett did when he was here in his last year. So that's the problem.
10-4, real quick. I'm going to scroll back up here real quick. I got Donald's in the building. Beard Gang. Yes, sir. Beard Gang's in the building. I see you on Facebook. We appreciate you on Facebook. Slide over to the YouTube. Hit that sub. Let us know. With that being said, we do have somebody that's coming up. Want to join? Again, we got over at YouTube. We got the link. It's pinned to the top. You're more than welcome to come over here and kick it with us. I got Tex Mayo's in the building. Tex, how you doing this Friday, brother?
Doing well.
Now, I know you got something to say about Kellen Moore, so perfect timing for the question and you coming up at the same time. So the floor is yours, sir.
And I don't want everybody to think like I'm just like all on Kellen Moore. It's just, if we were sitting here talking about a different team's offensive coordinator and he got, like O said, 3 years in a row, he got head coaching, interviews, even 3 years in a row when Dak got hurt, right? So 2 number 1 offenses as far as yards go. He had first in points the first season he was there. So he's hot. He was like, oh, this next McVay and all that, whatever. Yes, he didn't adjust well last year. It went down in efficiency, as O pointed out. But we can't sit all I've heard all off season is Kellen Moore's the problem. So is Dallas just that talented? and then we're talking about, do they just have that much talent that they supersede what their offensive coordinator does? You know what I mean? So yes, he is young. He will get better. He will get better, I hope. But if we're talking about how he's the problem and he's awful, that's kind of hard to say when you have 2 out of 3 years with the best offense in the league as far as, the metrics go with that, or yards at least.
Yeah.
But what I want to pose.
Well, hold on for you. I don't let you get out on that. I ain't gonna let you say that and just run to something else. Now we're gonna put your feet to the flame here a little bit. Me and you had a great conversation the other night, went back and forth. Professor O inbox was like, man, you was kind of heated with Tex. Like, no, man, that's how me and Tex get down. It's all love.
Hey, man.
But my guy James is in the building. You heard what Tex said, James. And I try to explain to James that context matters. We understand the number one we talked about a little bit earlier, but context matters. I couldn't get through the text on that. Maybe you can, James.
No, you did. I'm hearing you.
I mean, like I said, the thing with Kellen Moore is my problem with the whole thing with this Kellen Moore. I feel like he was anointed, much like Jason Garrett was. I think that's the problem. If you saw where Jason Garrett came from, he came from the Miami Dolphins. He was their quarterbacks coach, right? He came over very easy. It's like he came over from Miami Dolphins as the quarterbacks coach. Basically, was just like given the keys. It was given like, you're going to be our offensive coordinator. You're going to be our next guy. You're going to be this and that. Where was really the hard work that was really put into it to really get, like some of these other guys did? And I feel like that's one of the issues as well. Kellen Moore came over from Detroit with Linehan. I feel like everything was just kind of given to him. I feel like one of the reasons why he doesn't get a head coaching job is because I don't feel like nobody going to follow him. I'm going to just keep it real. I don't feel like people are going to follow him you got to be a leader of men, right? I mean, you can't it's not just about X's and O's. It's just about X's and O's. You got to be a leader of men, and those guys got to believe in you. And I feel like a lot of people won't look at Kellen Moore as maybe that alpha guy. Just my opinion, and maybe that's the reason why right. I feel like that's why he gets passed over in these jobs, because those guys aren't going to listen. Like, imagine when they were talking about him interviewing with Jacksonville Jaguars. Could you imagine them going from Urban Meyer to Kellen Moore? I mean, I think that would have been even more of a train wreck. You know what I'm saying? Like, that would have been all bad.
Much worse, but
it'd been much worse. And I'm not dissing him, but I just feel like everything was given to him. And like I said, I just feel like, I haven't hated on Kellen Moore. I've been excited what he's come in and he's got it with the offense. We've seen points. Dallas can put points on the board, but just seems like when he gets against some of these tough defensive coordinators or guys that are really like bring it to him, bring pressure to him, bring aggressiveness to him, it feels like he cowers out. That's my kind of issue with it. I'm not the intricate guy with the play calling and, things of that nature. But one thing I do know is that when there's aggressive defenses that kind of come in and really want to get stuck strong with us, I feel like we always tend to kind of back out of it, and we kind of tend to struggle a lot. And that's one of the things that I kind of have a problem with, in my opinion. I don't know about you guys.
No, I get that. And he does he struggles against really good teams. And we've seen that against really good teams usually.
I don't think it's just really good
I'm not good teams. I'm talking about aggressive defense.
Yeah,
when it's aggressive defensive coordinators,
right.
They were shutting us down, and I'm like, we got too much talent to be. We go against.
No way Denver should have beat us the way they did. There's no way Denver should have beat us the way they did.
Right. And it's just like when our offense is going against these teams where it's time for us to shine, it's like, where is that? When the 49ers came in at the beginning of the game, I'm just, and I'm going to be quiet after this, but it still bothers me. I need to let it go. I need to let it go. I mean, just let it go. I should have let it go, but I haven't. But when it came out in the beginning of that game and Jimmy Garoppolo was doing all that flexing and doing all that hooping and hollering, I instantly thought, oh, man, we about to be in trouble. You know what I'm saying? Because too many times we've seen when those teams come out real aggressive in the very beginning, first series, y'all can't tell me as Dallas fans, and we've seen our team so long, when they see that first couple series and the teams are all up in us, what are we thinking in our head?
The long half.
Here we go.
They're going to come in the second half better, but the first half's going to be ugly.
It's going to be one of these games. Here we go.
Yeah.
I'm tired of talking like that.
Tex, you had something on the back end. What did you have on the back end, though?
Well, I want to talk about the rushing game and what we want to see, what we want to expect. this year with the state of the offensive line and whatnot. But like, I mean, last year, how'd you feel about the rushing game? Everybody wasn't good, right?
Meh.
Zeke was hurt. Dak was hurt. Was that most of the problem in the last half of the season?
No.
Or was it the play calling?
It played into it.
So it's piggybacking off the Kellen Moore and like what you want to see this year.
Now jump in there, O.
Yeah, I mean, obviously injuries matter. Like you can't write those off. They definitely had something to do with it, but there's a lot of issues with our running game. So
Scheme.
one thing, having a offensive lineman as your lead fullback not in the red zone is dumb.
Yeah, be done with that.
310-pound guy is not going to be able to get to the second level to make that block on the linebacker, and that's the difference of getting an 8 or 9 yard run and a 3 yard run because he didn't get there in time. Or Zeke's running into the back of him, having to run around him. Like, it's dumb.
Yeah.
Again, if you're in jumbo personnel, it's 4th and inches. You're in the red zone. Cool. I don't have an issue with it. But when you're in the middle of the field, like it's just dumb. That's not a good idea. You have Nick Ralston playing. We have Ryan Nall now. Shout out to Tom. That's Tom's guy. Playing. Like, use those guys if you want to actually have a lead blocker and actually threaten the defense. Use somebody who can get to the next level and make that block on a linebacker, make that block on a cornerback or safety to get him into the open field. So, like, what we're doing now is dumb. And then too often with Zeke, we see Zeke run right into the left guard and center or right guard and center over and over and over and over again. Like, there's no counters. There's very few delay draws. Like, the diversity in our run game is weak. And then when Tony Pollard gets in, we run off tackle. Not that we don't ever run off tackle with Zeke, but it's pretty obvious, like, Zeke's the battering ram and Tony's the big play guy because, one, he's more explosive, but two, he's getting outside carries, which gives him a better opportunity to do that. So I think simple things like counters. You don't have to be an extremely good athlete to do that because it's a misdirection play where you're trying to get a linebacker to shift too far, misread the play, and then suddenly, you have a pulling guard and there's somewhere to run through. So I feel like that's another thing with Kellen, and Nick brings this up all the time. First play of the game. Your first 15 plays are scripted. First play of the game.
Yep.
Week after week after week.
Oh.
Week after week. Like, no play action, nothing like that. Just a straight up draw right up the middle. 1 or 2 yard gains. You're starting out 2nd and 8 every game. Like, it's why? So, yes, injuries matter. They definitely impacted that. Zeke was not full strength. Pollard was not full strength. We had injuries on the offensive line. Definitely factors into it. But Kellen Moore has to be better as an offensive coordinator on finding ways to get the run game going. If you have to pull more players, great. If you have to go jumbo personnel more often, great. Got to do something. You can't just say, well, players are hurt. It is what it is. Like, you don't have to run 35 times a game to be effective, but you have to find ways to make the carries that you do have matter. And I don't think we did that in the second half of last year.
Well, I got some numbers here, but what as far as how much were they in shotgun last year as opposed to prior offenses we've seen Dak in? Because he used to be so good at play action and whatnot, but him not having so much mobility last year, I feel like they were just at shotgun a lot.
But I mean, you can play action from shotgun. I mean, that's like a
kind
of
absolutely. But like his play action was less effective because they knew he wasn't running.
It's not that play action has to do with him running or not. Play action, you have to run the ball well to run play action well in this league. Like that's like, you can look, that's across the league. You do not have to run the ball well for play action to be effective. Like, you just don't have to do it. We didn't do it enough. Look, schematically, let's get all the way from the brass tacks and cherry picking this, that, the third. Here's the problem when it comes to Kellen Moore. Schematically, it's not good. Schematically, he doesn't, like, they run motion to see if they identify if they're in man or zone. They don't run motion to create a winning combo, a winning position. He doesn't put his players at times in the best way. And this is kind of back to what Spoonie said earlier. The Linehan, the Garrett. Look, Linehan and Garrett were cooking when we had talent. All the other offenses would cook, they had talent. If it was talent was a little coaching wise, they didn't put the players in the best position to go win. And what ends up happening is when we talk about the run game, or whatever, the run schemes aren't good enough. We know, they know, everybody. If we know those guys getting paid millions and millions of dollars, they for sure know If we know, and that's really when it comes to Kellen Moore. In man defenses and 12 personnel, he's great. Outside of that, it's a problem. Old salty dog defensive coordinators, the Vic Fangios of the world, right? Old boy from Kansas City used to be over there with the Giants and all them. Hey, man, it's a problem because the offense is basic. That's just what it is. So we talk about the first half of the season, right? And it's cooking. Now we had some injuries, some bumps, and you're not going to use Tony Pollard because they're going to play the money in Dallas. And that goes back to what Camber and James were talking about. The top down come in. No. Don't you over play Pollard now. You're going to go play that money, right? We go even go into the right tackle if y'all want to, right? Hey, now you got to play the money Collins. Doesn't matter what this coach staff wanted to do, right? Because when Collins came back, they still wasn't using Collins. They had him lined up as O was talking about earlier in the backfield playing fullback. You feel me? But then they said, no, that's cool. You had your fun. You put him in the dog. I'm not playing now. Right, and those things kind of happen. So from the schematically standpoint, his scheme has to be better, period. He can't just rely on 12 personnel no matter what, and he'll be okay, and everybody's perfectly healthy, and he's okay. It has to get better. He has to do things scheme to put players in winning positions and not just do basic stuff here in the year of our Lord 2022. I'm sorry. And at times we look at this team and we look, whether it was Jason Garrett for damn near 10 years, or we're looking at sometimes this offense now. Yeah, it smells 90s-ish. Because they want to win the cowboy way. Hey, man, the Great Wall and Emmitt Smith ain't walking through the door no more. You got to catch up in what's going on now. And that's really what Kellen Moore has an issue with, in my opinion. Now, maybe that's top down and maybe that's him schematically. And now here comes Mike McCarthy coming into the building and talking about, I'll be more involved in those things. And he's a big 11 personnel guy and whatnot. He likes to use a fullback. If we see a fullback getting used all of a sudden here in training camp a little bit more and seeing some different schemes looking, then I'll say, okay, maybe he is actually doing some things. But until then, I got to rely on Kellen Moore in our win now mode to walk through that door and be better and stop running the damn ball on first down, or I'm going to lose my mind. I'm going to start going bald. I swear to God. I'm going to start going bald if we're still out here running. No. This will stay here. This will stay here. But up here, yeah, I'm going to go bald if they keep running the ball first up because I don't know what else to say. I'm gonna go here. Guys run the ball first.
Remember that Giants game? That Giants game with Tavon Austin. First play of the game, we went play action, hit him deep because they expected us to run a draw because we do it every game. Like that's why, if you have a strategy and you say, "Hey, the last 4 games we started out. Here's an opportunity where we can probably catch them sleeping. They're gonna expect run. It's our tendency to take advantage of it. We don't do that." Tex, real quick, I did pull it up. The numbers. The last 4 years for Dak in play action, 25%. 25.4%, 27.2%, and 25.4%. So we haven't ran play action more than 30% of the snaps anyways. But his play action usage has basically been the same for 4 straight years now.
I mean, on shotgun, like were we using that more last year because of his injury? That's what I was asking. Like, I mean, I know
like Nick mentioned earlier too.
Shotgun, but just hit.
You could still run play action.
It seemed more effective when he was under center, and like that could be able to run as well. It threatened the defense in 2 ways.
That's fair, but we haven't really. I mean, the NFL in general is a shotgun league, though. That's what most teams are doing. I understand it's great if you can run play action or run out of under the center, anyways, because it gives the defense a different look. But yeah, I don't know. It's one of the things with play action. There's a couple myths. Nick's mentioned one. You don't have to actually be a good running team to be effective in play action because it's just the threat that you may run. And another interesting thing about play action is statistically proven. It does not drop in effectiveness as the course of the game goes on. So the first 5 plays you run in play action are equally as effective as the 15th and 20th time you use it. You could technically use it 25 times a game if you're throwing 35 or 40, and it really won't make a huge difference because the linebackers have to honor the run because nobody wants to get beat by giving up yards up the middle. You want to make them throw the ball because it's a higher risk play for the offense. There's a higher reward, but it's also a higher risk. So just that slight hesitation on, do I go or do I not, allows you to potentially get a little bit of yards of separation with your tight end behind them or your wide receivers downfield. So it should work regardless of if it's out of shotgun or not. We just don't do it often enough.
Without anybody looking, where did we rank in rushing last year as an offense?
I'm pretty sure we were 9th in yards.
Oh yeah,
is that right?
That's not bad for how atrocious it looked at times. You know what I mean?
But all things aren't created equal, right? Like they're not created equal in those realms. Sure, we were 9th, cool. Where were they at ninth? They're 17 games now. And honestly, Tex, I'm not having any fun with this conversation no more. So I'm flushing it. Boom. I'm flushing it. I don't care no more because Fridays is about having fun. And this ain't fun no more. We got James in the building. We got Camber in the building. I'm not going to sit over here and lose my mind on July 22nd. I'm literally an hour and a half from my 44th birthday. And I'm not going to lose my mind about Kellen Moore and these different things. I'm sorry, Tex. I'm sorry. Come back to the space. We'll do it earlier. I can't do it no more. I'm out. I'm out on it. We said what we said. We're talking in circles about him and everything else. Only thing I can tell you, Tex, you can post all the numbers you want to in the 2 out of 3 years, in the 7th, 9th in rushing, and all these things. What did your eyes tell you? What did they tell you? What did it get you? What did it really matter?
That he needs to be less vanilla, just like Linehan. I understand.
Okay,
I like to do the devil's advocate and be like, you know what I mean?
Flushing the advocate. I'm flushing the advocate. I don't care. You're bringing the numbers. I'm flushing the advocate because those numbers don't mean shit because the results ain't there. So I don't care what numbers you bring down from the mountain to here on the Freestyle Friday to our spaces when you come in. From now to infinity, Tex, he's got to be better. I don't care. That's
I agree.
What it is. I know you do.
I agree. What numbers do you want to see this year in the rushing game?
No, I'm not doing
moving on. I have a question for James and Camber. So I've been in lots of Twitter spaces with Spoonie, Nix, and Tex. So I have a pretty good feel for guys that they're excited on that are maybe dark horse players. So, like, is there a down the roster guy or a bubble guy or an undrafted free agent or anybody like that you guys are looking forward to seeing in training camp? Because we've heard all the buzz in mini camps and all that. So, who are you guys looking forward to seeing? That's
go ahead, Camber, jump in there.
Ladies first.
Oh, Marquise Bell, because I
knew you was gonna do that.
I mean, let's look at safety right now. We already know who our 2 starting safeties are. Izzy hasn't shown us what it is, and I think Marquise Bell was a steal. I mean, I don't know how he went undrafted, so that's my dark horse that makes this team, and I think he ends up safety 3, and he's backing up Hooker and Curse.
Okay.
Can I ask you real quick on that before James goes? So you said you think he's going to become safety 3. Do you mean right away or through the course of the season or long term? Just
have you seen anything out of Izzy that makes you think that Marquise Bell can't take that job?
We have Donovan Wilson for now.
Donovan.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Oh, I know. I'm skipping over Donovan Wilson.
She's excited about
you
her
want to skip over and miss your answer, so that's no problem.
Sure.
Yeah.
So maybe that means he's the long term guy, or do you think it's week 1 or through the course of the season?
I'll give it through the course of the season. Because they're going to have Donovan in there. Yeah, I did totally space. I forgot we even still had him.
Okay. Spoonie, did you go to the wine cooler? Ultra said you went to the wine cooler. Spoonie, did you go to the wine cooler real quick?
No. I went to the plant base. I'm good.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. I for sure went to the wine cooler with all that damn Kellen Moore talking. Text wouldn't let me get off the hook, so I had to pour one. It is what it is, but it's all good. Who's the most guy? Who you looking for? You're excited guy. O's question, James. What you looking at? Who's your guy?
I did a video on a guy, Aaron Hansford, from Texas A&M, linebacker. They had a linebacker the year before. I know you know him, Professor O. I was excited about him, but he got hurt. I think he played in a couple preseason. Yeah, Hines. I liked Anthony Hines. I liked Hines.
He won a Super Bowl. He was on the Rams roster last year.
Man, and I was like, I mean, he had really good size, he had good coverage ability, but you know, he had to put some weight on. My guy actually had trained him, Brandon Tucker. Shout out to him. He actually had trained him since he was like in high school, like middle school. So he was telling me a lot of good things, like don't sleep on him. So I was excited. And then he had the injury. Well, then Hansford comes right behind him. I think he really took over his spot when I think opted out or went out early. And I like his coverage ability. He does need to get stronger, but I like his size, 6'3". I think he's about 240 pounds. He has pretty good range. And I think that I don't know if he gets on the roster, but I definitely want to keep him on a practice squad. And I just want to be able to keep a lookout because, you know, I love the Damone Clark pick. We all understand about the injury, but later down the line, maybe he could be a guy that you could be seeing sneaky with a Jabril Cox and Micah Parsons and a Damone Clark, and then you can see a Hansford because they like those tall, rangy guys that can cover. And I feel like if you can keep him around, he may be able to do something. So he's a sneaky guy for me, Professor O.
Can I ask you about one other guy? So when you're talking linebacker, what about Story Jackson?
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask.
Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know a lot about him. I've been hearing a lot of great things, so I don't want to jump out there like, oh, yeah, I love Story Jackson. He's this and this and this. But what I've heard a lot of great things, and he's athletic as all get out. So I think that's the biggest thing that we get excited about, that you got Dan Quinn, because when he gets those guys with the athletic ability and can really turn that speed on, you see what he can do. You see what he can do when he unleashes the pass rush or, fakes the pass rush. So I think it only adds to the defense if you can bring another guy with speed. I know he's, not a guy that came from the Power 5 and things of that nature, but we're seeing Dan Quinn, he tends to work his magic. And one thing I like about him, Professor, what he can maybe do with the Jackson kid, is that once he finds, and he said this in his interview last year, I like to identify what somebody does really good, and then I want to put him in that position to where he can be successful there. And I think that's where we can get excited about the linebacker right there.
Speaking of,
I like both of those answers too, because we haven't heard anybody mention Aaron Hansford at all. So that's a good answer. And then Bell's somebody I think everybody's excited to see. So thanks for that answer.
And then, of course, on the backside of that particular linebacker from LSU with the injury, Stephen Jones apparently didn't get the message, said he's going to miss half the season. You buying or selling that, James? You buying or selling that?
Well, first of all, I don't buy anything Stephen Jones says, so I'm going to just say that right there. Because remember, he tried to fool us with the Michael Gallup thing. Oh, Michael Gallup going to be starting at week 1. And I said, really, bro? You still had – did you see Blake Jarwin and did you see Tristan Hill, how long they took to come back? Well, Tristan Hill. Right. Did you see how long it took back? And we reasonably think when this dude just tore his ACL, January, February, that he's going to be back week 1. Stop it. So, yeah, I'm sorry. I don't really believe the things about what the Damone Clark. I hope and pray because, like I said, if we could get those 3 guys, Jabril Cox, Damone Clark, and Micah Parsons as the linebacker core of the future, that right there gets me super excited because they all add different elements. And especially with Clark and Cox playing with each other, that's just the cherry on top.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Chemistry, right. Spoony, who you looking at, man? Who you looking at going into this camp?
The guy that the position that nobody really cares about time to time, unless it's a game winner, is the field goal.
Oh yeah. Okay, so we staying on that. Okay.
Listen, the one thing we haven't been consistent in since Dan Bailey is field goal kicking. We brought in a guy with a nice nickname in Greg the Leg, but did not perform like it. So getting a guy like Jonathan Garibay to me is a good look. I think he's the type of kicker that could be in the same list as Chris Bonio and Dan Bailey, all-time Cowboys great kickers. Young kicker, his average was about 55. I think he did 2 out of 3 about 3 times. The guy just kicks. That's a strong leg. It's everything that we need, that this team needs, that we won't have no problem with going forward, is field goal kicking. And I'm happy about that. I remember on Twitter, right before the NFL draft, I came out and I tweeted it saying, I understand with Cade York out of LSU. I understand with my man out of Texas. But this is the kid that I think the Cowboys need, and we got him as an undrafted free agent. So I'm happy about him. I'm excited, too.
Why'd we ever get rid of Forbath, though? I mean,
Cobra Kai sweep the leg. I don't know, but they did. Because honestly, because he wasn't Fossil's guy, Greg Zuerlein was. No. So that's what it boils down to. But I'm with you. Yeah, I mean, I was super excited that somebody's going to come back and get opportunity, but it didn't happen. But always, I mean, come on, man, you could have marketed that. Come on, Steven, I know you like that marketing, brother. Cobra Kai sweep the leg. I mean, come on, it was money. We're ready to make some money and he actually made his gig. So there's
I'm sorry, real quick. We want to market something. Let's market what Big Game just said about Jabril Cox and Clark LSU. We got Lions and Tigers back there. If you got those 2 guys starting, you got Michael Parsons, you got a former LSU Tigers.
You got the Lions and Tigers and Bears. Oh my. We need a
Right
bear.
there.
We need a bear though. We need a bear. We need one bear though. Lions, tigers, and bears. Oh my, we need a bear.
Oh, we got a vanilla gorilla. We got a
That's what I'm
vanilla
saying. That's what I say. We got the gorilla.
Yeah, you got
We got the
the
gorilla.
Hold on. Don't steal my thunder, guys. Hold on. Wait a
Oh,
minute.
okay.
Go ahead, Tex. Who are you excited about, man?
I got two. I got Alec Lindstrom. I want to see.
Nope. Just one.
All right. Well, then never mind on him then, because he's going to be in the mix. All right. On the back end of the DB room, shout out to Mama Wright last night. Nashawn Wright's going to be on the. We're going to see, but I just haven't heard anybody really talk about Deron Bland. He's a draft pick this year, and I want to see what he has in camp. With his speed and everything else. So I just want to see what that back end, using your word, on the DB room looks like, as far as like those guys that are on the bubble and they're going to be fighting and scrapping and trying to get in the conversation.
10-4. And look, I ain't mad at you about bringing up Alec Lindstrom with the center position and stuff. One of my favorite undrafted guys, but my spirit animal, the vanilla gorilla, he's out here already getting into fights. He said, man, I'm here to break some necks. I want that kind of stuff on my D-line. I'm sorry. I'm ready to see. Walk through the door, young man. Come on through. Walk through the door. You're here. You're ready. You understand your position. You're bringing that kind of feistiness. I want to see. That was cool with no pads on. I want to see it with the pads on now. Going to the training camp, I want to see that. I was big on Quentin Bohanna last year. I would love to see him get the pad level down and do something. But dadgummit, we need that one set with Brett Urban up out of here. No disrespect to Carlos Watkins and what he can do with some of these guys gaining weight. And as you say a lot, man, hard to rely on a guy being drafted in the 5th round to come in here and have that impact when you talk about the 1 second, the least amount that they play. But that's okay, because we know when Urban left, this run defense, we saw go. And if we talk about our last 2 playoff games, guys, Rams, Niners, 500 yards damn near giving up against the run. And what happens in the playoffs is what you're not really good at gets highlighted tremendously. That's what happens. You can get by during the regular season some, but once you get to the playoffs, it gets exposed. The lights are different. And the defense has not been good enough against the run. We had CJ Butterball Anderson go for over 200 yards against us. And we already know that whole squad over there against the Niners coming in playing the super gremlin and everything, and they rush for over 200 yards. So we need something there. And, man, if he can come in and be that guy for us, man, I'm excited. So I want to see when the pads come on, we get into camp and we really get after it, if he can walk through that door and be that one tech for us and establish and help us against that run. Now, we could do some things in free agency, maybe go add Sue to this pot on the defensive line to help the run. But without that being had, I'd love to see him to walk through that door. For the chat, though.
Who do you think's the odd man out on the interior defensive line?
Tristan Hill.
I don't know. I don't know if it's Tristan Hill, because the problem for Tristan Hill is he's on the last year of his deal, and they love the comp formula. Right? They love the comp formula. Quinn Bohanna, I think, has got an issue. I think Quinn Bohanna might be having an issue. But that's a great question. You're talking about just specifically defensive tackle, right, Camber?
Yeah.
I need to see Quinn Bo walk through the door and get that pad level down, guys. That's where I'm at. James, odd man out for you at D tackle. What do you think? Who's your guy?
I mean, how
many do we keep?
I need Quentin Bohanna to step up. I made a video about him. He needs to step up. I mean, he was the pick that we were talking about last year, right? Correct. He was the guy that said, "Hey, I ain't worried about the sacks. I'm here to plug and play, hold these 2 guys so I can keep my linebackers free." We saw at the beginning of the season he was getting some tick, and then at the end, toward the mid-season, toward the end, he wasn't getting anything, folks. So he's got to have this has got to be a big year too for him. Now it is harder for these guys to come in when you're playing the 1 tech and the 0 tech. It's hard for those young guys to come in. It takes a little bit of time for them to develop, and we understand that. So that's why I'm a little hesitant. As much as I love Ridgeway, I'm still a little hesitant to say let's think about him, because he's still coming in the 5th round. He still had a little bit of issues even at Arkansas, you know what I'm saying? So we can't say, we're going to just expect him to come in. So I feel like Bohanna's really got to make his mark, man. He's really got to step up. He's got size. He's got the athletic ability. And just like you said, BJ, he had those issues with playing high at Kentucky. That was one of his major issues. If he played his pad level lower, he could be more of a he could be such a better player, because we've seen those guys that when they're 6'4", 340, 50 pounds, and their pad level is low, we saw how effective they can be. So if he can really get that down, I'm really hoping for him, because guys, if he can really step up, it makes the defense so much better and so much easier, and we can have a Neville Gallimore go back to his natural position and not have to sit there and play that 0-and-1 tech and wear down. He is a pass rushing defensive tackle. He needs to be able to attack and get upfield, and so that's why Bohanna is huge in my opinion. I like Carlos Watkins, but he doesn't have that size and that girth that Bohanna has, so that's why he's key to me, folks. If he can step up and hold those guys, it makes everybody else better, man.
You think there's something there to the fact that these rookie defensive tackles like start falling off the second half of the year, going from 11 games to 17 plus?
But that's not even 17. I mean, Osa just got overused because of all the injuries.
And he's undersized.
And he's right. But the biggest thing too, and the biggest thing about Bohanna, because if he does walk through that door, I called him this last year. I called him a dancing bear. Wait, it's funny. Lions, Tigers, a dancing bear. Dancing bear. We're in the building. We're in the building. With that being said, Tex Mayo, I'll give you the last word because we do have somebody else coming up right now. So I got to drop you and bring somebody else up. Tex, what's your last word before you get out of here, brother?
Hey, man, you guys have a good night. I'll still be listening, man.
Absolutely, Tex, man. Appreciate you as always.
Thank you, Tex.
Always.
You can find, if you're on Twitter, you can find Tex at Kyle Mayo. It says Tex Mayo on Twitter. He's Kyle.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter, Kyle Mayo 16, but I'm Tex.
That part, Tex, brother. Always appreciate you. Enjoy the restaurant. Thank you for sticking around. And we might do a space afterwards. Come on over there. You'll aggravate me and talk about some more daggum Kellerman. I'll let you do it. Okay. Have a good one. Real quick, we got my guy. We them boys. How are we doing, brother? Are you muted? I can't hear you. Did you turn your mic on? Wait a minute. Turn your mic on. I'm digging the setup though over here. I'm liking the screen. I'm liking the reach around. Look, you know, I like the aesthetic here that we got rocking. And once again, guys, as Tex was up here for a while, we got Weedon Boys. He's working out the back end right across the top. We're gonna rock with y'all for about another. I got about 45 minutes. We usually go about 2 hours on the Freestyle Friday. Y'all good for another 2 hours? About 45 minutes. Gamber, big game. Y'all good? Okay, bad. Oh, hold on. I hear you from James. James, you got 4?
I'm good. Okay. I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. Hey, so you best was to jump on here and join the conversation. It's right there on the YouTube channel. It's pinned at the very top. Y'all can come on in here. As our guy Weedon Boys figures out. Hey, look. If you got to leave and come back in, you might have to do that and hit the accept to make sure.
Can you hear me?
Oh!
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Have it up. Have it up for our guy Weedon Boys. What's going on?
What's going on, everybody? What's going on?
Real quick now. Ultra said his mic went out like killing more play calling in the red zone. Come on, man.
I got to keep changing. I stream on Facebook, man, so I got to keep changing on where my mic goes. So,
hey, TC, don't let it out here, TC. I know I said 45 minutes, but I really mean
he ain't lying.
But don't. Hey, look, TC, shush. Don't tell him that though. Shush. No, James already knows though. So I mean,
so last year was my first year of doing content with Knicks, and we did a draft show.
Did he get you? Did he get you?
Oh. It was 4 a.m.
I was
trying my best because I was trying to be nice and being like, I'm sure, like, we'll give it 10 more minutes. I'm sure.
Right.
But I didn't know how to like tap out politely like on air, and I didn't know how to like text him on the back end, so I just kind of kept going. And eventually, I'm like, all right, I gotta go to bed. It's 4 a.m. My kids are gonna be up in like an hour.
You just gotta leave. You just gotta leave. You just gotta say bye, man.
Technical difficulties. I don't know what's happening.
Because Knicks will go.
That's why I have the Cinderella rule. At midnight, you know, the pumpkin, the carriage turns into a pumpkin, and I got to go get my beauty sleep.
Listen,
Madden's been a trending topic right now. Nick's Madden endurance rating is definitely a 99. Definitely. No question.
99?
Yeah.
Listen,
he's 110.
Listen. Listen, look, I have the privilege to share a hotel room with him, but the privilege, okay? Let me tell you something. I had to feed him an edible just to calm him down. I really did. I had to get this is good candy just to calm my brother down. Let me tell you something. This is game day. We up talking from the minute we get to the hotel, like say 7 at night. 4 or 5 in the morning. No lie. Give him a little candy. Oh, this is good stuff. What is it? What's edible? Go to sleep, baby.
Nana.
Go night. That's what you gotta do. That's my man, though.
Hey, look, man. Look. I do this 2 times a week, and once I'm on, and look, y'all, look. Hold on. You know what we do over here at Spoonie? You know, we date ourselves a little bit, right? We date ourselves. We tell, especially we ain't talked about over here on this side, but we do in the spaces. We let people know we're from the Stone Age, and you know, if y'all ever watch old Sylvester Stallone movie, it's called Over the Top. And when it's go time, it's arm wrestling. When it's go time, he does this right. He takes the cap, boom, and he turns around backwards, and he kind of takes that grip and kind of changes it up. Hey, man, when the lights are on, it's time to go, man. Hey, and I'm excited. Not just, and here's the thing, man, not just excited about talking Cowboys football, which obviously I am for that reasons, but I get a chance to kick it with the people that I really rock with. And that's what it's really about for me. Whether it's James, Spoonie, Professor O, Camber, I got We the Boys in the building as well too. Tex Mayo, he aggravates the shit out of me. Excuse my language. But it's all right. But he's my guy though. He's my guy. You know. And I got everybody. Look, and I got everybody in the building over here. You know, in the building rocking with us as well too. So yeah, man. I mean, it is what it is. Hold on. It says, this ain't got nothing on the West Coast, so that dude can go. He's on the West Coast. But see, though, I'm not on the West Coast. Hey, I got different tiers. I have a group that's in my 5-year tier, 6, 7, and then I have a tier of 8+. It's on the channel. Y'all can go look at them. You know what I mean? But definitely West Coast, he can go for sure. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I've had him in the spaces a couple of times and whatnot, man. It's been a lot of fun for sure. But with that being said, man, we're being rude to our guy. He just came up here. What's going on, brother?
Not much. Just got done hanging out with some friends, and I honestly forgot you were live today. I'm like, I gotta jump in here. And you know, Spoonie, I gotta say something, man. I was at work the other day.
Yes, sir.
And I was listening in when we got that fire going on, that fire speech. And I was literally jumping up and down and saying, you everybody at work were looking at me like, is he okay? And no, I mean, I love how you guys can get me hyped at work, even just talking about Cowboys.
Thank you.
But you were 100% right, man. There was some people that I was talking to says, yeah, I'm a 90% Cowboys fan and 10% Lions. I said, so you're bandwagon. Well, you are. So you're either a true fan, you're not. You either bleed for them, you don't. It says, no. I says, no. You're either a fan, you're not. So get out of here.
Right. Hey, look.
So,
I kind of feel bad for someone who's a Cowboys Lions fan. That's not a good dynamic. Like,
Yeah.
you give me a bandwagon fan. You got to come up with it. You got to have Cowboys and somebody else. Like, Lions is not the team to bandwagon.
Cowboys, Vikings, do something better than that.
Right, yeah, right. Yeah, come on, man. What are we doing here? Yeah, you know, or maybe make your basketball team something good. I mean, you got to get some balance out there. I'll be honest with you, man. I can't coach on the 2 teams. I'm old school that way. I'm not a 2-team guy. I'm not. Literally, I'm a. And believe this or not, we were kind of talking about this in the private chat before about, you know, hey, who's your teams? And there's not a lot of those guys. I actually do. I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan. I'm an Orlando Magic fan. That's where I'm at. And I enjoy baseball. You know, I loosely follow the Rangers or whatever, but baseball's whatever for me. That's it. That's my 2 squads. I'm not a college team. I enjoy the college game a lot. And I like watching players in the college game, but I don't have a really squad. So I'm a Magic and a Cowboys fan. I actually have a guy that follows me on Twitter. I follow even before I started doing content and everything. We actually bumped each other on Twitter. He's the same. I'm like, okay, there's 2 unicorns because I don't know anybody else that is a Cowboys and a Magic fan. But here we are. I was like, look at us. Who would have thought it? Not me,
Yeah.
but here we are.
I made the comment. I was like, I'm a Cowboys Hawks fan. Like, I don't know how many of us there are. And then Nick said, I'm a Cowboys Magic fan. I'm like, that's probably about the same. Like, I don't know what the number is, but I have to imagine the ratio of Cowboys fans to like the Magic or Hawks, either one's very, very low. It's probably a lot of like Lakers, Celtics, Bulls, Heats, like some of the bigger teams. Definitely not the Hawks and Magic.
Well,
hey, real
Lakers
quick in the
fans
chat,
for sure.
As we go around the building here, and we'll kind of fill all this in. Y'all drop your top teams. Let's see what the chat has and who their teams are in each sport. Right. Let's do it that way, and let's throw it up there. So we the boys. You're up here? Who's your squads?
all right, look. So when I was a kid, I was a Chicago Bulls fan. That was only because of Michael.
I
Jordan.
wonder why.
Michael Jordan, man.
Yeah, I
But
know.
so for where I'm from in Iowa, people really get on me because I'm a Cowboys fan, but also because I'm a Nebraska Husker fan.
Right.
But baseball.
That means he's got Forniak as the center next year, guys.
Baseball, I'm honestly because my wife, I support her, Chicago Cubs.
Okay, so Cubs, Cubs, Cornhuskers, Cowboys, all the C's. All the C's. He's C'd down. All right.
So his hockey team, Capitals. Oh, you got right.
There he goes. Yeah.
I don't even follow hockey. I'm not gonna lie. I don't follow hockey. Motocross. Only two C teams. Motocross. So
Calgary Flames.
Camber, who's your squads?
Okay, so I'm going to throw a loop for y'all because I'm going to add this one in. So I got Cowboys. Then I got NASCAR.
Yeah, I want the NASCAR.
Martin Truex Jr. Truex Jr. Then, we're going to go to college. We got to go UW, go Huskies. Mm-hmm. Then baseball, we got the Mariners. Stars for hockey, and basketball can kick rocks.
Oh, don't be like that, Camber.
Nope.
Such a basketball hater. I hate that she's a basketball hater.
I can't.
Camber, if you ever come to Atlanta, I'm taking you to a Hawks game. They're so much fun. There's like 1,000 people there, but it's so much fun. You'll love it.
But I quit watching when they flopped and quit playing defense. Done. I was done. Out.
They've helped on the flopping stuff. Yeah, they've helped on the flopping some. They need to get a little bit better on it. Big game. What's the squads for you, brother?
Obviously Cowboys. When we're talking basketball, it's the Mavericks. It's not just because of Luka. I was there. I was never a Lakers fan. I always kind of not hated them, but since everybody liked them, I really wanted to go against them. Right. So I like the Mavericks when they had the Roy Tarpleys and the Mark Aguirres and the Derek Harpers, Detlef Shrimps. I like those Mavericks back then. So Mavericks. College football, Texas Longhorns. Slight bit since I'm in Ohio, Michigan, just because I can't stand Ohio State, and because I can't stand Ohio State so bad, and Texas can't play them all the time. I just like Michigan to beat them, so I kind of just like Michigan like that too a little bit. If we're talking baseball, the Mets. Not really a baseball guy, but I've always liked the Mets because I like Dwight Gooden, I like the Darryl Strawberries, the Hernandez. I love the Mets back in them days, so I kind of just stay with them. And hockey, I ain't trying to be popular, but shoot, I like Mario Lemieux back in the day. So I just keep them eye on them Penguins because Mario Lemieux and them Penguins back in the day, they were some dogs and they made me want to watch hockey. You know what I'm saying? So the impact that they made just made me want to watch hockey a little bit more. So I keep my eye on those guys.
I will say same thing for me. Not a huge hockey fan. I'm a Stars guy. Mike Modano, that was my guy. So Stars is kind of where I'm at in that realm. And I will say, like, I've always liked the Mavs because a little history about me. Like I was born in Texas. I did a lot. My mom's from Florida. My dad's from Texas. I did a lot of growing up in Florida. I was back and forth. Like, man, if I told you about the different schools I went to, y'all be like, yo, Nick, you went to that? I'm like, yeah, fam. I was moving constantly. But neither here nor there. I was back in the Rolando Blackman, Derek Harper, Roy Tarpley days. Like, I rocked with them heavy. Mm-hmm. That was really kind of my squad. But I was in Florida, and I was in high school, and I was playing basketball. I guess I wasn't quite in high school yet, but I was playing basketball, organized basketball, if you will. And that's when the Magic came into play. And I was like, yo, these Magic? I don't know. I'm over here. And then they drafted to this day, my favorite NBA basketball player of all time.
Penny?
Nick Anderson. Nope. Nick Anderson.
Okay, Nick Anderson was a dog. Nick Anderson was a
Illinois.
dog.
Illinois. And here's the thing for me. Yeah, Illinois. And here's the thing for me. Like, he played the three, which is what I played. And he was a guy that could back you down and could shoot. And that was really, if you go back to his frame and when he played, it was a lot different for him back then, unlike the game today. And my game was there. I was ahead of my time, as I like to say. But anyways, I love Nick. I love Nick. But I love Nick Anderson. I wore 25 and everything. And man, it just stuck with me. But I don't have two teams. I don't believe in the two-team format. My brother, though, is been a huge Mavericks fan, so I always like to see the Mavericks do well, so he feels good. And I got to watch him when they won the finals, and man, he literally we had some bottles. He popped the bottle, poured it on himself. I had a great time, and some other friends were around that were Mavericks friends, and I enjoyed it for them. But one day I'll get to do that as a Magic fan. I mean, I think the Cowboys are going to do it before the Magic. But neither here nor there. Neither here nor there. Neither here nor there. Camber. Camber. Kyle Busch. Camber. Kyle Busch.
Okay, so Kyle Busch is one of the most extremely talented gentlemen to ever sit behind a car. Too bad he's a fuck whistle as a person.
I knew that was coming.
Come on.
Fair enough. Spoonie, lay them squads out, brother.
All right, so I'm from New York. All right, everybody knows that. I was a Cowboys fan and a Miami Hurricane fan. I'm sorry, Theo, right here.
Oh, he got the
Irvin, though. That's
swaggy daggy.
I'm cool with the Irvin jersey.
Okay. All right, so I was a Cowboy. I was born to be a Cowboy fan and a Hurricane fan. And when I was young, I started working at MSG for the New York Knicks and at Shea Stadium at part time. So I became a Knicks fan and I became a Mets fan. Yeah, it sucks, but it is what it is. But I still rock with them, as a true fan.
They're having a good season right now, right? It's doing pretty good right now. Come on now.
Listen, man. They would never get no players until this guy's out of there. That's just my opinion. But they boycotted him for that Oakley situation. But as far as hockey, I really love the Rangers. I was a Mark Messier guy when he had won the championship with the Rangers. Then Wayne Gretzky came in '97. That was real cool. The experience of hockey is crazy. It's great.
Right.
Yeah, it's my team. Those are my teams right there. Anybody else?
Spoon. I got to ask you about 1991.
Oh,
what's that?
Your Hurricanes, my Huskies, and that shared championship.
Hey, look, y'all get it during the week. They get it on the weekends. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's going to be on the weekend in Miami, right? So weekends in Miami during the weekend, y'all. It's all good. Look, see, parenting at its best on that.
You know what? I never see. This is the first time these guys are hearing that I'm a Hurricane fan because I'm kind of sure of P.O. P.O.'s a Georgia fan, and his passion. We was there in Vegas, right? But I made the little mistake, and P.O. got mad at me with the Georgia linebacker not going to Dallas and iPhone.
Yeah.
So
that wasn't a little mistake.
That
was a big deal.
Hurt our relationship, P.O. Me and you. I hope not.
No, we're good. We're good.
So funny story here is Russell's bringing it up right here. Says Jim, Jamal, and Jason was a sick trio. So story time real quick with Knicks. Different time and era. Y'all remember they used to play in the Reunion Arena, right? Okay. So I was actually in Dallas at the time. I was like 13, 14. The Magic came to town. So I got to catch a bus. So my parents allowed me to catch a bus to go watch the game with a friend of mine. I guess it'd be 14 because I was in 9th grade. Downtown at night. And Penny was a rookie that year with Shaq. And I went in there and watched that game. Amazing time for me. And honestly, the only professional basketball game I've ever been to. And Shaq, the fun thing I always remember is Shaq came based on miss a dunk and it went real far in the Jumbotron. They had Homer Simpson going, don't, because he missed it. It didn't matter. Magic went in and waxed it by like 20. It was all good. And to this day, one of my prized possessions is I have the original first album from Shaquille O'Neal, the cassette tape. And inside that cassette tape is my, to this day, ticket to that game. And I'll take pictures and post it on Twitter if y'all follow me on Twitter, and I'll show you. It was a fun time, man. It was really cool, for sure. Also, we got somebody over here checking in. Oh no, wait! I got to go back here. I got Jerome who says, "Good evening, guys. Shout out from Jersey. Shout out to New Jersey. Appreciate you on Facebook. Hey, if you got opportunities, it's right there across the bottom, man. Pick Six Sports. Go over on YouTube, man, and hit that sub for us real quick. Let me ask you all this as we're doing all the different things here and going back and forth. How do y'all feel whenever you talk to a Cowboys fan and say, "Oh yeah, I'm a Cowboys, Yankees, Lakers fan"? Does that move y'all in any different way?
Yeah, it takes me there. I ain't gonna lie. It takes me really there, especially when they say Cowboys, Lakers. I really go there instantly because I question things. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, man, it's like, dang, you don't have no slept on team. Like, it's just so easy. And then when they dog my team, oh, your team sucks. I'm like, who your squad? Lakers. I'm like, come on, man. Like, we can't have a sports conversation no more. You feel me? Like, our sports conversation is done. You trump me and everything. That's not fun, and it's not a good conversation between us for us to go back and forth. Like you said, you gotta be like you, Knicks, or like Professor O. He say he like the Hawks. That's a good conversation because I don't know a lot of Hawks fans, so I know he like the Hawks. It's just
I'm
like
literally wearing a Trae Young shirt right now.
You feel me? Like if somebody's talking to me and they come out of nowhere and I'm like, "Who your squad?" Titans. Okay, I know you a Titans fan because I don't hear a lot of Titans fans. So then I feel like we're gonna have a good conversation because you're gonna teach me something about them Titans. But if you come out and you talking about the best team, you like all the best teams, I'm not talking to you about no sports.
I haven't ran into that yet.
Listen, big game. I can concur. When I used to work at Madison Square Garden, right? We all had that conversation in the locker room. I'm a Cowboy fan. He should always trash my team. But I'm gonna tell you this: there was one brother, man, one dude. He was a Saints fan, and at the time, the Saints was not a good team. But everybody would clown him. I'm like, why are you clowning him for? He has a unique team that you don't hear about. So it was funny when the Saints went to the Super Bowl. I went back to the Garden to find this kid, right? He's still in there. He said, "Oh, you remember me?" I'm shake your hand. Why? He was the only one getting all the hits in the locker room.
Right.
Now this is your time. I said, you better raise some hell.
You better go crazy.
Right.
I would be going crazy. I respect them too. I respect them to the fullest.
Yeah.
Can I ask you guys a question real quick? So while we're talking about other teams, what fan base in your life? Because this may be the geography lottery thing that Nick talks about all the time. So depending on where you grew up, it may impact your answer here. What team have you met the fewest fans of in your life in the NFL?
Well, the Seahawks before 2006.
Yeah, but I've met some.
Jags.
Fair, Jags. Yeah, I was in Florida. I know some.
Colts for me.
Oh, Colts. Okay, Colts. That's a good one. I'll be honest. I don't know many Cardinals fans. I'm just keeping it a buck.
Yeah.
I don't know a lot of Cardinals fans. In
Arizona, right there in Phoenix, they've got giant Green Bay bars and Steelers bars, but because you got so many snowbirds that come down there.
Yeah.
I got a friend of mine at work. My bad, Scoonie. I got a friend of mine at work, and he's a Dolphins fan. That threw me off. You know what I'm saying? Like I was like, "Who you like?" He was like, "The Dolphins." I actually, once he said Dolphins, I was like intrigued. I wanted to talk to him more about football.
I can plug you in with some.
Right?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I got two really good friends, and they're huge Dolphins fans. Yeah, but I'd say that I know about 5 or 6 Dolphins fans. But again, geography lottery, as you said. Right. Florida, Texas. You know what I'm saying? Back and forth.
Yeah.
So I know some. I definitely. Oh, TC, why you leaving?
Well, on kind of what Professor O was saying, on the opposite end, what's the most teams you've ran into that aren't Dallas fans in your area, but are like different fans in your area? For me, it'd be Green Bay Packers, like in my area.
Right. Oh, in East Texas, I'm telling you right now, Eagles. Period. Like tons of them.
Off there. No lie. Texas?
I'm over here. Like I'm for the geography standpoint here. I'm 45 minutes away from Shreveport, and I'm like an hour and a half, 2 hours away from Dallas. Okay, so I'm east and a little south of Dallas, if you will. Out here, Eagles. Literally, I had a guy came in today, which I blessed him up. He comes and buys Funko Pops from me. He buys Funko Pops, and I've seen him. He's been around for about 3 months in my shop. He's came in with the Eagles hat, but I ain't said, well, hey, how you doing? Blah, blah. I ain't really got to him. He came in today. We were doing some back stock in the shop. I came across. I had a Reggie White pop. I was like, oh, we had this in the Eagles, Minister of Defense. So he came in, and he was coming in. I was like, I got something for you. He goes, oh, what you got? I said, right, you like them Pops, right? I was like, nah, I know you're an Eagles fan. He didn't have his Eagles hat on today. I said, but you got the Eagles hat on. So now we do have a high school over called Tatum, and they got the Eagles. So I'm like, are you a Philadelphia Eagles fan or a Tatum Eagles fan? Let me find out, bro. Let me see where you at. He's like, oh yeah, Philly. I'm like, all right, bet. I put it out for him. He loved it, bought it, $15, whatever. But here, I think a lot of it in the dichotomy of it is Cowboys are so heavy. And if they're growing up and they're like, man, they don't like their family or they're tired of hearing about the Cowboys, they're like, how can I cut them deep? Eagles. Because most of them that are Eagles fans, all they want to do is just trash the Cowboys. They're not really worried about their success per se or anything. It's just about whatever the Cowboys are doing, oh, I'm an Eagles fan. Y'all suck, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter what their team's doing. So, yeah, here in my area, it would be Eagles. We have a lot of Saints fans as well, for sure. But it's weird. I watched early, the Drew Brees, Sean Payton stuff. I watched people, no cap, Buffalo Wild Wings, long-time Cowboy stuff, and all of a sudden they showed up in Saints fans. I put up to the table. I was like, y'all had some Cowboy stuff on, like, oh, no, we were always Saints. I was like, word. Okay, cool. Anyways, so the Saints fans were very heavy. They've fallen off of my area now, though. They're not as heavy as they used to be, but there's a couple of true ones. But still, I would say the Saints are kind of because of geography lottery, but you would be surprised how many Eagles fans are in my area.
I've never met a
shout
Bengals
to
fan.
Robert out there in the chat. Yeah, I am from Washington State. He nailed it.
So I've never met a Bengals fan my entire life. Even with them making the Super Bowl run, I still have never met one. Never. The only person I know that even remotely likes them was an LSU fan who now, because of Joe Burrow and Chase, likes them. But it immediately tells me I'm not really a fan. I don't really care. I'm pulling from my two guys. Never met one. In Atlanta is one of those big transplant cities where people from all over the move. The biggest fan bases outside of the Falcons, and probably bigger than the Falcons fan base, is Cowboys, Steelers, and Bills. So Bills is a weird team because a lot of people, about the fans if you've ever watched any show at all about how Buffalo Bills fans are at their stadium. There's a lot of New Yorkers that don't really embrace the Giants and Jets. They consider them Jersey teams, depending on if you're from upstate New York or if you're from more of like the actual city. So that kind of dictates if you're a fan of the Jets or Giants or a Bills fan. But there's Bills fans all over the place. So surprisingly, there's like 4 or 5 big bars in downtown Atlanta that are Bills bars.
Hey, I'll be right back. Y'all hold it down. Be right back.
Got you.
Well, I would say out here, I'm in Ohio, so I definitely seen plenty of Bengals fans. And it went like crazy after, they went to the Super. Oh my gosh, they wouldn't shut up out here. But, they were happy, but I was happy for them. But the heavy team out here is Pittsburgh because it's Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania's close to Ohio. So there's so many Pittsburgh Steelers fans in Ohio. It's crazy. Like, it's almost like they own Ohio. And obviously as soon as they see my Cowboys, they get to talking all that trash. We got 6. So I'm like, all right, man. I can't really say nothing to them. And then they just beat us the last time too. So that just really kind of got me frustrated about them guys right now.
Got it. So question, since we're coming up on training camp, it's right around the corner. Is there let me ask this, Jabril Cox. So that's kind of a guy that's an interesting prospect, right? Last year, everybody said he's the steal of the draft, second round pick, fell in our laps in round 4. There were probably 2 picks talking about Chauncey and Wright in particular that Cowboys fans were upset that we took them because Jabril Cox was there. And he happened to just fall in our lap in round 4. We only got to see him on 8 or 9 snaps total of defense last year. He did play some special teams. We're all kind of assuming I know Kyle Yeoman said he's going to be healthy at the start of training camp, which is great news. What do you guys think about Jabril Cox? I know that right now it's still a little bit of a mystery, but we're going off of potential. Do you guys think he's linebacker 2 right now? Do you think he's going to become linebacker 2 as the season kind of progresses? That's something we talked about on our show when we did our linebacker breakdown. It's really linebacker 2 because our linebacker room is not super deep. It's either LV or Cox that are going to get the majority of those snaps in nickel. So what do you guys think on the panel? We'll start with Spoonie, and then we'll go Camber, Big Game, and then Weed and Boyce.
For me, I think LVE. I mean, the goal is to be Cox, but I think they're gonna slow Cox, slowly bring Cox in, and it will be LVE. But I think Cox will end up starting that week 1.
What about you, Camber?
I totally agree. LVE is going to start. He and Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn loves him. Absolutely loves him.
It's your
Besides
football
me.
husband.
Yes, exactly.
It's your football husband.
It is my football husband.
Hit the wrong button.
But
sorry.
No, I think LVE starts. Number one, just because of the leadership position and knowing it and everything like that, and like you just said, that we only saw 8-9 snaps with Cox in there and the inexperience. Could he take that spot from him? Absolutely. But LV starts the year.
Jabril in the Pro Bowl. Eddie O coming in hot, coming in super hot. Go ahead. I'm sorry. It's you. O. Go whoever.
Yeah, it's James' turn.
Oh, I agree. I mean, obviously, because Cox is they're still saying, he's still coming back slowly from the injury. All they said he will be ready week 1. So I still think they want to take their time with him. And just like you said, Professor, he only played like 8 or 9 steps. So he's basically like a rookie if let's keep it real. He didn't get any real time. So he's still like a rookie getting acclimated. So they're going to start with LVE, and LVE played better toward the end of the season, especially when Gallimore came back. He played a lot better because then they kept him clean. Gallimore was able to take a couple of those double teams and keep LVE clean. And once we saw LVE play better, when he was keeping clean, he was able to come in and make those tackles and be a little bit more aggressive that we saw, like in his rookie year. So he's definitely gonna get that crack. And just I believe what Cameron says is that Quinn likes LVE and he came back on a nice deal. So he's definitely gonna get a lot of work. But I definitely feel like there's a plan for Cox. But my thing with Cox, Professor O, is that I had an issue with his tackling when he was in college. When he was at North Dakota, I said that was one of the reasons, in my opinion, that he dropped that far was because he was having a problem. Not saying he couldn't, but he just wasn't physical enough. He was not getting putting his nose in there. He was doing a lot of side tackling, wait till they get past him and then tackle him from behind. So, I was wondering how that was going to acclimate when he got to the pros. So I still feel like we still need to see that, because this is the big boy game. So we need to see him be able to stick his nose and get in there on those tackles. And I feel like he needs to still take up that step. Obviously, we were excited about the coverage ability, but he still needs to get that tackling down for him to be on that field on a consistent basis, in my opinion.
Got it. What about you, Whedon boys?
Honestly, I thought about it in LVE, but to be honest, I think Jabril Cox will take it. I mean, I really feel like Jabril Cox will rise up and take it. I'm a big Jabril Cox fan, so Leighton Vander Esch.
What do you think?
I liked him the first one game, but then he just had a downfall, and I just haven't liked him since.
Yeah. Real quick, I want to say shout out to everybody who's came through tonight. If y'all get a chance, make sure I hit that like button for us as well too. You know what I mean? Thank y'all very much. Yeah, I just Cox has enough there. There's just not enough there from Cox shit, in my opinion. I'm excited about him. I want to see him do well, obviously, but low key, LVE once again it's just like from college. Nothing's really changed for LVE. If LVE's kept clean, he can make plays. If you go look at his tape at Boise State, he can't get off of blocks. I don't care who's blocking him. He just can't get off of blocks. And this is kind of the same thing for him now. Kind of what James was saying. Hey, if you're able to keep him clean, LVE can run and make plays. His coverage, But back to what O said earlier in the show tonight, how many have 2 linebackers that can cover well? And that's why we kind of like the big nickel, right? Because we're able to get J-Ron Curse down there and take away the tight ends and do things in that realm. So yeah, I think it's Canberra's football husband, if you will, as it comes to LVE. It was so fun doing the spaces and some content with her last year, and I was being the bearer of bad news. But then, Camber, I told you towards the end of the year, I was like, actually, Camber, I think he's going to come back. And here we are, and he's back. So, yeah, it's kind of the Mo Claiborne situation, right? Because we didn't pick up the 5th-year option. He came back, played for a year, then he left. It could be the same way here with LVE. It's really going to depend on Cox. LVE's going to have an opportunity. If they keep him clean, maybe he can get back to that Pro Bowl form, and you get excited about that for the contract that he has. But yeah, I think Cox is a Dan Quinn guy. We've talked a lot about that in our own lanes and everything else about what Dan Quinn. The one thing that I've liked about Dan Quinn from the outset, from now to when he got here, every single addition that he's brought in, he's had a plan for. And that's kind of exciting and a breath of fresh air, even at times, if you will, when it comes to this team and a coaching or a coach that has these kind of plans, whether it's the Watkins of the world, the Curses of the world, right? And now here we are with Cox. So I'm excited to see what the plan for Cox is, but they're going to slow play with the injury and everything else. So LVE for sure out the gate, and then I'm sure he'll have the opportunity, and we'll see what happens. Now,
I'm
Eddie
still waiting for the plan with Nahshon Wright, though. I'm still waiting for the plan with Nahshon Wright, because I'm never going to forgive him for passing over Elijah Molden. I can't. Not until I see something, anything.
Well,
You should
forgive him for passing
Asante Samuel.
Asante Samuel. That's who you shouldn't forgive him for right there, because we took him instead of. I mean, hey, Kevin
We
Joseph,
can't bring that up around J Tuck, by the way.
But that was my pet.
subject.
But that was my Elijah Molden was my pet cat, and
Right,
he was
yeah.
there.
That was your yeah. It was your Asante
and
Samuel.
they took him, and he went the next pick.
Could you
him.
imagine? Could you imagine Asante Samuel Jr. and Trevin Diggs though?
The inches we
and we wouldn't
need,
have to worry
James.
about none of that, and we wouldn't have to worry about none of that off-field stuff.
No.
Just saying.
Right.
Bloodline.
I didn't know you was a huge LVE like that. So far, one of his good friends, she works in downtown Brooklyn at a beauty salon, and there was a time when I walked in to get a car for my wife, and she saw me with my cowboy gear on. She goes, "You're a cowboy fan?" I goes, "Yeah, of course, yeah." She goes, "Well, do you know LVE?" I said, "Yeah, Leighton Van Ness." Well, they were like very good friends, so there were things. She always tells me to stop by or something. So now I know. Now I know you an LVE.
So the reason I brought that question up, obviously, it was I had an angle there that I wanted to ask you guys about first, just to get your overall feel on who's going to be the linebacker there. So last year, Keanu Neal actually played a higher percentage of snaps in games when he was healthy than LVE did. So last year, Keanu Neal played 61% of the snaps in the 14 games he was healthy in. And then LVE played more total snaps, but he only played 58%, so slightly less in the games that he was healthy, which was the full season. So with that said, there will be a role for Cox or opportunity for Cox or any linebacker on the roster, or maybe that's Marquise Bell role, and maybe we see Jaron Curse more at linebacker. Somebody has to take those snaps, and there was quite a few of them from Keanu Neal. So either way, it really probably won't be a huge difference between who's technically linebacker 2 and who's not. We'll probably see a good usage of both, but I just want to kind of get a feel for how Cowboys fans feel about Cox now versus how we felt about him last year. And I know it's a little bit more of a mystery because this year he's coming off of an injury and last year he wasn't. He was coming out just as a draft pick. It's just kind of interesting to see how things change because last year, James brought him up earlier, but Bohanna last year was the guy. Everybody loved Simi and Bohanna. Those are the two draft picks. People were excited about Micah. They were excited about a lot, but those are the two guys that were like, could be a steal, going to have a huge impact, and we just never saw it play out. Doesn't mean they can't develop, but things change a lot over the course of a year. And Jabril Cox, especially having the injury factoring into it, is just kind of an interesting guy to weigh in because we all assume he's going to play a big role, but I don't think anybody really knows. And if you look at the chat, we saw everything from people are too excited, too hyped up on Cox, to Cox is going to be a Pro Bowler. So we're seeing kind of the same thing there is what I was thinking. So I don't disagree with you guys. I do think LVE probably will be linebacker 2. And like Nick's mentioned and Weed and Boys mentioned, Dan Quinn has had a role in mind for all the players that he picked, and Cox was a guy that he picked. So there probably is a vision there, and maybe that's just taking the roles Keanu Neal played last year. I'm just kind of interested to see how that plays out.
Does anybody,
and then too,
surprise cut, surprise release?
Yeah, we'll get to. Okay, we'll get to that. Hold on. The only thing I want to say about that is too, when you start figuring in, which will be interesting. We'll see how this breaks down. When you start figuring if they win, they slide Parsons to that Leo or rush off the edge. Who's going to be the two linebackers on the field at that point in time? So that's going to be. You good over there, James? You all right? Yeah, I'm good. Okay. so yeah. Okay, fair. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see who the two guys are on the back end. But yeah, Spoon, go ahead. Your question, pivot. Ask whoever. Go ahead.
I was just asking, does anybody have a surprise cut? Somebody they didn't expect to be released? A starter or anybody like Anthony Brown, maybe? Right.
No, I don't. I mean,
Anthony Brown ain't going nowhere.
Safe.
Yeah.
He is super safe.
I think I think Mendoza actually said it earlier for me. I think there's a big opportunity here that CJ Goodwin's not on this team. $2 million for a guy who's basically a special teamer. You look at some of the talent they added that are key to be special teams and have traits like your guy Spoonie last year, former UConn, Purdue, Coyle, right? And what he can do. So, to me, I think CJ Goodwin, who's a special teams ace, we understand what he brings to the table, but you look at the money, and if they can get that out of Coyle or somebody else, I think he's a guy for me that I'm like, I don't think he's safe. in that realm. But that would be my guy, Spoon.
P.O.
So, yeah, I kind of highlighted the guy that I don't know that it's a surprise cut because I think, C.J. Goodwin, Noah Brown are two guys people could see being cut. Tristan Hill is a guy that people think will be cut. So when I'm looking at guys who are surprise cuts, I start thinking about maybe Basham, maybe a guy like that last year he got a 2-year contract. Now we're looking at the defensive end room, knowing we have guys who can play multiple positions and slide around. Do we really have a role for him this year? I don't know. Noah Brown is a guy that I think a lot of people want cut, but I think if he actually was cut would be a bit of a surprise because we look at him as the blocking wide receiver special teams player. But like I highlighted earlier, he's really not as good at special teams as people think. He's not a Matt Slater. He's not a Pro Bowl caliber guy getting, 25 tackles a year. He's had 2 tackles in 2 seasons combined, 400 plus snaps. So I could see Noah Brown being cut. So if I was going to give a surprise cut, I think I would go with Basham. I think Basham's a guy that's role is now eliminated from the team. So I'm going to go with Basham.
I mean, Ms. Camber.
He stole mine. Matt stole it.
Just co-sign it. It's okay. You can just co-sign it.
Co-signing it. Yeah, he stole it.
Big game.
For me, it would be Simi Fehoko. That would be a surprise cut from me. He was drafted in the 5th round. So obviously 5th rounders are not guaranteed anything. You guys have already mentioned Drummond, Freifogel. They were impressive, in college, and especially Freifogel. He was coming into this year 2021 is like one of the top guys out there as far as receivers. So and they talked about moving Simi to a hybrid position, bulking up a little bit. So that tells me they don't know what they really want to do with them. We know when Cowboys get to experiment with you, Reggie Robinson, experiment, you're gone. We've seen when they experiment with you, you could be gone because they don't know what kind of role you have. So that's the person that could be a surprise cut for me.
Do you think that the other two would be valuable on special teams, like Simi playing gunner and having the speed that Simi has? Simi's lightning fast.
He's lightning fast. I would like to see him, but I didn't really get to see what he was really doing on special teams. And I remember Drummond, just like Professor was saying, that he can add in the punt return ability. And that's huge. If Drummond can lock down something like that I feel like that elevates him because Dallas is so desperate to get some kind of something in the return game, especially the punt return game. And Simi doesn't really offer that in that aspect. And then, like I said, they're talking about, well, let's bulk you up. Let's put you in a hybrid. What would he really do with that? Where he's not really a blocker where he's going to be an inseam guy where he's taking on linebackers and things of that nature, you right? So I'm wondering what's the real plan with him. And so that's why I said don't know if it can happen, but I just say if that was a surprise for me, especially whether it's kind of talking up Vasher too. I don't know if there's a plan for that, but those undrafted guys, I think they like those guys, and they have said it many a times that they really love this undrafted free agent class. So he could just be a guy that's on a bubble right now.
Yeah, and what's interesting too with him at minicamp, obviously training camp is different. They have pads on, live action. He's going to get him more opportunities. There were three comments about Simi's offseason so far. He worked out with Dak. He did a better job in minicamp and OTAs in getting separation. But the only 2 plays they talked about were one where a ball bounced off of his hands and became a pick 6 interception, and another where he beat Anthony Brown on a double move and then dropped the ball right in his hands in the end zone. So it's one of those things. It's great to have all the physical skill sets, and it's great to make progress from last year to this year. Last year, he couldn't get separation at all. We saw it in preseason. We heard about it all minicamp. He didn't get any reps really during the season.
He didn't get it. He didn't get it in college either.
Yeah. So now here's your opportunity to step up. If you have a drop in the end zone, people remember that. If you have a drop that turns into interception, people remember that. If you have a drop on a curl route on a contested catch, people write that stuff off. Those are 2 big gaffes. So I do think there probably is a lot of pressure on him if he wants to make the team. He's going to have to start making plays. The potential and excitement there is great, but you got to capitalize. Like that's what we talked about with Kellen Moore, and it's more so compacted when you're a late round pick. Your spot's not safe. So, yeah, I could see that one.
We them boys?
Yeah.
Semi, I was gonna go with big game said Semi.
Semi?
I really do feel it's gonna be Semi.
Yeah, Jelena, when you come in, as I got Jelena trying to join here, what you have to do is make sure you allow speakers and microphones. So if you got to drop and come back, see what you can do. Come back in. I'm going to pivot and kind of
Somebody mentioned Josh Ball in the
Yeah,
chat.
Josh Ball's been big in here as well. And my guy Dom as well over here. You know what I mean? Bo, I talked about that a little bit earlier. But I'm going to ask this question. So we're talking about surprises with the semi. I'm going to throw another wide receiver out there. Because of the depth of these guys they might like with the undrafted guys and what Vasher's doing, maybe peanut butter. James Washington?
Washington.
Well, see, the reason why only reason why I didn't mention him is because we had Michael Gelkin on the show this past Tuesday. And
Tell
I
me they can
attacked
find
that
that show,
question.
James. Yeah. Tell me they can find that just in case.
It's on the Final Word. You can check it out. Just type in the Final Word, YouTube, Big Game, Law, Boss, and OC. But that's one of the first questions I asked him because I wanted to know what Washington's role was because, you know, we seen he came from Washington. He didn't cost a lot of money. Not Washington, Pittsburgh. And it wasn't like he turned up over at Pittsburgh. It's not like, you know, he did a lot of things, but he was on the Cowboys' radar during the draft. And I know like the Cowboys like to circle back when they bring you in, they draft room and they can't get you early. They like to get you later, especially if you cheat. And so I was wondering, though, is he going to really have a real role? You feel me? Because they love Tolbert, and, you know, he's not been getting paid a lot of money, so would he be there? But from what Gelkin was saying was that he's not almost guaranteeing his spot, but he's saying he feels like he is in their plans, at least for this season. So that's the reason why I backed off and like, okay, I feel like Washington's going to be there. And plus, with the injury with Gallup, that's a lot to put on a rookie. God forbid anything happened to our number one dog, because then depth is all kind of crazy. You feel me? And that's why I was talking about that. I'm still worried about that depth, folks, because we know we got CD, right? But Michael Gallup is out, and he's going to be out a little bit, right? We don't really have guys, and we love Tolbert, but he's still a rookie. God forbid anything happen. The game does have injuries. Where will we be looking at if one of our big dogs go down at the receiver position? It would be really, really lacking.
Real quick, because I haven't had a chance. We've talked about it extensively. How many games do you think Gallup's missing, James?
Minimum 6, in my opinion.
6 in your opinion? Okay.
Minimum
6 in your opinion. Camber, I know we haven't had a chance on air to talk about that yet. I'll let you drop yours as well.
Oh, yeah, easily 6. I mean, think about when he had the surgery and then start counting. Nobody was believing game 1. Game 4 to me is pushing it and not letting him heal. So at least 6.
Okay.
That change of pup list matters too.
I was going to say 4 games at least, 5 at the most. But
got you. I don't know. He's ahead of schedule and all these things we hear. I feel like he could play after 3. I think he can play in 4, but it kind of goes back to what we know about this coaching staff and what they've done and how they've handled injuries. They're patient. They just are. You know, we've been on air or we've had the conversations like Gallimore last year, like, hey man, like, let me look at my clock. Like, what's going on here? Like, he should already been back. You know, I mean, those things just kind of happen. So yeah,
but we saw it in Gallup too, no, Nick.
Yeah,
when he had when he's already had injuries. He's already had injuries, and we've wondered, like, dang, Gallup's still out. You know what I mean? So it's not like he's been a fast healer in his prior injuries. So that's why I have concern with that, because it wasn't like he was the fastest healer when he had his other injuries. So when I see that, and you had a tear,
injury week 1, right?
Right. So that's what keeps me wondering, like, that seems like you're going to be out a while if you took a long time to heal from those.
Big fan.
You know Cowboys going to be cautious. Washington? Yeah.
So when you asked about James Washington, and James said he had Gelkin on, Gelkin said he's not going to guarantee a lock, but he's pretty safe. Where I look at is when you look at a room, especially a group of players, where do they fit? Like defensive backs, you say, are they outside guys or are they inside guys? Are they guys that can play both? Because that matters when you're building out that cornerback room. You want to have guys that can be outside guys. You want to have guys that can play over the slot, and you want guys that can be whatever. And usually those are your cornerback 4 or 5s that you're trying to develop that you don't really want to play either spot. In the wide receiver room, we know CD can play in the slot. We don't want CD to have to be the only slot guy on the roster. Then you look at Tolbert, who's been an outside receiver. Yeah, he could play in the slot, but he's an outside receiver. That's what you drafted him to do. Gallup's not going to be healthy. Gallup's your X. That's what he does. He's an outside receiver. You have Noah Brown. Noah Brown is not a slot guy. You have Fujoko, also not a slot guy. He could play slot, but that's not what he's good. His body type tells you he's probably better suited to be an outside guy who could potentially play some slot. TJ Vasher is 6'5". He's not playing in the slot. Yeah. And then you have Freifogel, Drummond, Houston, those guys that are competing for a roster spot or practice squad spot. You don't want them to be your slots unless you have to play them. Washington gives you that flexibility. You can play outside, inside, like CD. So when you look at the other guys' skill sets and body types on the roster, you don't have a lot of that. So I feel like he's at least safe until Gallup's back, if nothing else. And I think there's probably a role in mind for him. So that's kind of where I think Washington's value is he takes some of that pressure off of CD, where CD doesn't have to be just a slot guy. He's super effective at doing that, but with a player like that you want to be your true number one, you want to be able to attack at a lot of different levels, not just out of the slot. So I think having Washington kind of adds value at that point.
And look, and that's a interesting point that you bring up there with Washington, with the in and out. And that's why, to me, in a lot of ways, look, and I hate that Cooper's not on the roster, but boy, Cedric Wilson leaving here and the way they built this wide receiver room has really been detrimental to what the Cowboys want to do because of that. And now when it comes to Washington, I just asked a question because I've had people ask me before, and I want to see where y'all are at. I do think, and I've said this more in the spaces than we have been on this channel here, he's had bad quarterback play over there in Pittsburgh the past 2-3 years. So I believe that's very fair to say. I do think he's better than what he's done so far. So I'm excited to see what he does. But again, it's very intriguing how they built this roster and the Wilson leaving and where they are. We the Boys has a question for us, and we're going to wrap it up. Go ahead, We the Boys. What's your question before we get out of here, brother?
All right. So speaking of injuries, we got Michael Gallup, but and you said maybe they're actually going to be patient so we can take care of our players. All right, think back when Zeke got hurt last year with that PCL tear. Okay, he gets hurt again this year. Do you think they're actually going to be patient and bring him out to let him heal so we have our RB1, or they're going to push it and we're going to be running with a hurt player again?
I think it depends on the extent of the injury. I mean, if the injury's bad enough, he's not going to be out there. But other than that, I think they'd push him again like they did last year.
Yeah.
What do you think, James?
I mean, that's so tough because I don't never know what they're going to do with Tony Pollard. You feel me? It's just so frustrating to see you got a playmaker they just won't do nothing with. It's just frustrating. You would think that you would try to get Tony Pollard more touches, but I'm agreeing with Camber. I feel like they're not going to stop Zeke, especially when they're talking about, when you heard what Bobby Bell saying, no matter what he does this year, this still might be his last year. I feel like they're going to squeeze every little bit out of him if they can. If they feel like this is probably going to be his last year, they're going to squeeze every little thing out of Zeke this year if they're going to do that. So I feel like if he does have an injury and it's not major, he's playing.
10-4. I'll go back to I was on your channel. You had me over to guest on your channel last year. And James, we actually had a conversation about Pollard prior to the season. And we both were like, hey, he needs more touches. And we were talking about that 12 to 15 range and stuff like that. And it just didn't happen. So I just don't know if it's similar to the PCL stuff. I think they're just we just saw him. I think they're just going to push Zeke. I don't think it's going to happen. As Camber said, if it's serious enough and he can't play, sure. But at that point, will it be more Dowdle or will it be more Pollard?
Right.
It's almost to a certain extent like they don't want to drive up Pollard's. Maybe in the grand scheme of things, they don't want to drive Pollard's money up so they can just bring him back and let Zeke go or whatever mastermind game they're playing. But yeah, I don't know. I just think they're going to run Zeke no matter what. I think this is kind of what it is. And if he's healthy enough to go day one, he's a warrior. He's not going to sit down. Mama Zeke came through, and we asked her about that last year on this channel, Professor Spoon, if y'all remember. And she was like, how raised and you play. And she kind of talked about the injuries and stuff like that. And we kind of talked about, how about this one? the organization should protect the player from themselves. And sometimes they wasn't interested in that last year with Zeke, and I don't think it'll be much of a difference this year, depending upon the injury in that standpoint. Spoonie, and what do you think, man?
No, I mean it's for me. I think because both of them could be gone next year. We got Pollard on his last year's deal, and with Zeke, they have the out on him if they want to, unless he takes a pay cut and they do to him like they did the law. But I would think they would go with Pollard more, especially if Mike McCarthy got his more hands in his offense this season the way he did last year. I think they'll put Pollard in the game more.
Oh.
So I've been going back and forth on this because my gut is if we were smart, we would start Pollard and close with Zeke instead of doing the opposite or sprinkling in, because Zeke's more effective as the course of the game goes on and Pollard's explosive. So let's get the best of both worlds there. Part of me wants to say, and probably the realistic side of me wants to say, it'll be Zeke until further notice because that's what they've shown us so far. We have to go off of their history and habits, and that's what they've shown us. Zeke's banged up. If Zeke wants to play and he's willing to go out there, they're going to play Zeke because that's their guy. That's who they committed to. That's who they invested the money in, and we know that money matters in the Cowboys organization. So that's kind of what they've shown us. This year is a little bit different, though. So I saw Eddie's comment, Stonehall Sports comment about potentially not playing Pollard as much to lower his value. I'm actually looking at it from a different angle from the Cowboys, where I'm looking at it as if they play both of them, it increases both of their values off season. So you get 2 comp picks instead of getting a third round comp out of Zeke or a third round comp out of Pollard. You could potentially get a third and a fourth out of both players walking, and then draft a player in the mid rounds to be your running back of the future, because that's where you should be drafting running backs, not top 5. Although Zeke's been a great player for us, but that, from a standpoint of returning your investment, that's where you should be looking at running backs on. I could see the Cowboys evening out that load a little bit more. Maybe it's still, 55, 45 or something like that. But I do think Pollard playing more not only helps the team win this year, but helps both of their markets next year in terms of either attracting comp picks from somebody else or potentially trading Zeke instead of cutting him outright. So just kind of an interesting angle in terms of the chess pieces and the way they may manage that.
Yeah. We talked about this in the space before we came on. And I would love the Cowboys to get into, if y'all go back and remember, rest in peace to Marion Barber, the Barber and the Julius Jones kind of role with Pollard and Zeke, and kind of get into that format a little bit would be awesome. But even besides that, I think this is really what's going to happen to me, and what you can kind of key in and look at. If they get into the season and Zeke's carries are starting to look like the first couple of years, like they're running the numbers up on his carries, the DeMarco Murray effect's in full effect. They're going to run him all the way up, and then they're going to be like, oh, hey, too many carries, only so many carries, you got to go, and that'll be it. If they find a way to kind of balance it out and whatnot, I think there's the opportunity then that they will redo the contract a la D-Law to keep him around for a couple more years. The Pollard situation, yeah, I'm James, all of us here, we've pounded the table forever, 12, 15, more reps, in the games, rushes, carries, whatever, catches. We want to see it, as O just said, but here we are, and, I can't even buy what we're going to see in training camp, because we've seen Pollard in training camp be in the slot and different things. The one thing, though, and James, you brought this up earlier tonight, with the deficiencies per se at the wide receiver position, it might force their hand to get Pollard more involved. And that's the exciting side to that. With that being said, hold on. Don White, John 23. Let's go.
No more first round running backs.
No.
Baby.
No.
Texas. Get them.
Yeah.
Okay, so on that twist, though, let's say they restructure Zeke's contract and they do get rid of Pollard. Do you feel they'll keep Zeke and then draft our RB1 of the future and just put him behind Zeke to learn from him, and then eventually there goes Zeke, and then we got our RB1? You feel him seeing going that route?
I mean, it's possible, but it's so far ahead in the future. We got to let some things play out first. You know, because I mean, hell, if we get in week 1 as he gets hurt for the year, like everything changes in that realm of what they're going to do. Same thing with Pollard and whatnot. So I don't know. Like, I don't get too far. There's certain things we can kind of talk about and be honest about, but in that realm, man, that's just so far out in the ocean. I just don't know. It could be a solid plan. I'm not going to disagree with that. You know, as we hear a lot now, just draft your running back somewhere between rounds 3 and 5, rotate and run them up, and then do that. That's kind of what the league wants to do. So there's some teeth to that. I agree with that, but I don't know, man. The Cowboys move differently when it comes to this running backs and what they like in how they do business. So I just don't know. We have to really see what they do with Zeke this year. Now, the first month will let me know a lot. In my opinion, the first 4 games of the year and how they're using the running backs is going to tell us everything, in my opinion. And then we can come back and have the same conversation on Freestyle Friday. Like, okay, word, the gig is up. We know what's going on here. But with that being said, I actually kept y'all for 55 minutes. But I'm turning over a new leaf this year, James and Camber. I've been doing better this year, guys. I'll be honest with y'all. I've been doing better. I have not been keeping people over here. Cam's about to slob. She's passing out over there. It's not midnight, Cam. You got 15 minutes before midnight, Cinderella.
I'm hanging.
I'm doing better of getting out of these things. It's only been 2 hours and 14 minutes. I got you on the back end. That ain't 6-hour game. I try to warn people, hey, I'm going to go for a little bit longer tonight. Like, if you're going to be on this, let me know. So I'm doing better, guys. 2 hours and almost 15 minutes. Not even quite there yet. So we're going to pivot up out of here. Once again, we appreciate everybody that came through and rocked with us. Happy hour space here right now. Shout out to our guy, Big Game James. Man, light up. Man, go ahead, man. Light up. Light it up.
Where am I lighting
TC, up? Well, not you. Whoa. I know. Hold on. I know what you're about to light up, but that's neither here nor there, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, TC. I lied just about a little bit, but I was really staying longer because you joined. You said you couldn't hear the headset. You're going to come back, and then you never show back up, TC. So really, it's your fault we stayed this late. Not mine. But, don't you do it, LP Cap. That is not Cap. I am doing much better. And Eddie-O, hey, man, yeah, absolutely. Here's what I'm going to do. We're going to wrap up here. We are going to pivot. My birthday is in 14 minutes. What better way to ring in my 44th birthday than doing some Cowboys content with the people that I rock with? And no, well, I can't say no that it won't be 4 hours. It depends on how intrigued I am. I'm not going to say the next space is about to be 4 hours, but I'm going to come on and kick your jaw for a little bit. It's going to be fun. Rolling out the red carpet here real quick. Big game. If they don't know who you are, they ain't really into the game because you're the OG of the game. You feel me? But if they don't know where to find you, sir, by all means.
Hey, just Big Game James. Now, I used to be Silver and Blue Nation. We moved away from there, so you can just type in Big Game James on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. That's where we really going hard at. And just a little plug, really going hard with the high school thing. So if you have any youth or young people that may be, your own kids or people let's shoot them to me. We're really trying to grow that. Really trying to open the door. I wanted to create a platform about 4 years ago for the young athletes out there, male, female, really trying to give them a platform and give them some shine and let the world know about the wonderful things that a lot of the young people are doing out there. So like I said, if you know any athletes, it doesn't matter what sport either. I'm focusing on football, but basketball, baseball, it doesn't matter. The whole point is to get the young people out there and the youth out there shine and give them a platform to be able to speak on so the world can know about them. So if you want to go out there and support that, hit Big Game James up. That's what we're really going hard at. Of course, it's Cowboys, but we really want to, give back to the community and really push out the up-and-comers out there in America and, in the States.
10-4.
James, will you tell them really quick about Sunday, too?
Oh, yes. Oh, I'm gonna let Nick get that one. Let's see, that's his birthday. It's his birthday. I'm gonna let you get that, Nick. I wasn't taking it. Big.
By the way, happy birthday, Nick.
I appreciate that. What I want, no, I want you to do that. I want to do something before we got to that. You're okay.
And I'm glad Camber's on here too because she had the best comment of the day.
What I wanted to say was
that was good stuff, Camber. I just want to give you props on that.
Yeah. What I wanted to say was I do believe the last time I was on your show, you might have been on my side. I don't know. It's either one. We had a conversation about some change in the community, and we kind of went back and forth. And
Yes.
things have happened over time and whatnot. We never got back to that conversation. I don't want to remind you that I haven't forgotten about that.
Yeah.
Let me know if there's something we can find in that realm.
See, this right here is like the door opener to it. You feel me?
Okay.
Because this is like the start of it, and then I got some other outlets that I'm going with it. So yes, we're definitely going to talk because like I said, it's a lot of things that are going on in these streets right now, especially with the young people, man. Gun violence, things of that nature. Not to take anything up. My son has actually came back from Virginia because he lost one of his friends due to gun violence, and I'm really trying to just push that we got to really get these youth away from that negativity and push the good things. So I really want to just be able to, like you're talking about, BJ, push it out there that so a lot of the young people can see that, because they're not seeing positivity out there. They're seeing negative. And when you just continue to see negative, you become that way and act that way because that's all you're seeing. So we have to show them a different way.
Right. And again, I just want to touch that again because we had that conversation and we never got back to it, but I want to let you know I never forgot about it.
Yes, sir.
And I am 10 toes down on that when we had that conversation.
Yes,
so
yes,
I keep it in mind. But with that being said, as told you before, we do have something pretty special on Sunday. And James, roll that on out for the folks in the back if they ain't heard yet.
Well, I mean, I guess it's like the what do they call it? Professor Cole was calling it the Avengers. I mean, it's Voltron Part 5. You got 2 Voltrons looking up. Tuck, I mean, came at everybody. I mean, Tuck, Rome, Cowboys fans. I go by Rome. I'm sorry, I can't mention that. West Coast, Botch, Knicks, Law Nation, Boss Cowboys, Skywalker Steel, Mark Holmes, I believe.
Yeah, Cowboy Joe Boo. Yeah.
Did I forget anybody else?
Did you get Boss in there?
Needs to be on.
He had Boss.
Yeah, I said Boss.
Okay.
Cameron needs to get in there.
Nice,
Though. I'm pushing for you, Cameron.
Okay, look.
I'm pushing for you.
Hold on. Here's what I'm going to do right
invited.
now. Here's what I'm going to do, because I know Tuck and how his mind works. In my head, I'm like, he's doing it this way. He's probably going to run it back with all female cast. Here's what I'm going to do.
I know he's going to do it like that.
That's what
He is now.
I'm pretty sure he is.
No, he thinks that
Because
way.
Cameron
Look,
well
he
playing
thinks
no
that
games.
way.
She jumped in there quick.
Hey, look. If he doesn't do it, if he might be too busy, he's a busy man. If not, I'll do it. I'll circle. I'll circle. Get the females on point, and we'll do it on Pick Six Sports. So we'll make.
I'm gonna keep it real. Can I keep it real right quick? Because everybody,
this is Freestyle Friday. Yes,
everybody is hyped about this, right? I'm hyped about it. I ain't gonna lie. I'm hyped about it, but I ain't gonna lie. And this is on God. I want to see this female, all female. I want to see all the ladies. I want to see all the ladies they gonna get. And I want to sit back. I ain't going to lie. I'm going to sit back and I'm going to listen to y'all talk. I'm telling you, I am excited about it. I want it to happen. So after ours is popping, I'm telling you, they need to make that happen because I want to listen to all y'all's knowledge. I do. Because I ain't going to lie. I get excited when I hear ladies really knowing their stuff about sports, the game of football. It just really intrigues me. I like it. So I want to see it for sure.
Yeah. And I'll say this and I'll put it against any other fan base. We got
some bangers out there.
We have the best women content creators.
Yeah, we got some bangers out there. That's why I want to see it.
And I want to see it. I'm right there. I'm ready. I'm tuned. I got my popcorn ready. Pour me up a little something. I'm gonna sit back.
I got the juju bees, all that. I got the pop. I got all that. You know what I'm saying? Sit back in the recliners. You know, they bring the food to you. I'm one of them. I want to be there, right there on that one.
Big facts. So we're gonna make that happen. Look, and again, I'm telling y'all, I already know how Tuck works. I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I know he's doing this so he can pull right back. Like, oh yeah, y'all thought it was over. Here's the female. I know how Tuck works.
I know he's coming too. He set it up nice.
That's what he does. But if not, Camber over here, Pick Six, we'll do it. Either way, it's going to happen. We can run it back 2 times. It don't matter because I can't. I like to see it a bunch. But that being said, guys, y'all know the drill. Cowboy, our guy, We Them Boys, he's still in the building. Tell the people where they can find you real quick. We Them Boys.
You can find me on Twitter. Been in the space, so you know where you can find me. You can find me on Facebook, which is, you know, I'm a streamer, so I game. That's, you know, but I love talking football when you're in my stream.
What game you playing right now? Real quick before we get out of here.
Call of Duty is both my game or Madden. So either way.
All right. with that being said, shout out to Tex Mayo coming in here. I had to flush him on the Kellen Moore, but I still rock with you though, Tex Mayo. You know, a little too much with the numbers there. Had to get him up out of here. Spoonie and Spoonie, last word for you, and Professor, last for you afterwards, and we're gonna shut it down.
Oh, nah. For me, it's just a blessing being around you guys, long-time Cowboy content creators. I've been watching big games since I was younger. In Sugar Blue Nation. Yeah, I was younger.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
Nah, you know, and the one thing I always say is that, you know, whether I'm here or whether you're part of the fan base watching, you know, these are the type of guys that you want to listen to every day for Cowboy information. We all know that in the real world with these networks, it's puppets. You know, it's rehearsed. It's not organic. And when you get the information you get right here, is a beautiful thing. My man, Professor O, I had the privilege of staying with him in Vegas, you know, visiting with Miss Camber. And I'm going to tell you right now, I wish I knew when I was in high school, because I would have passed out my math class with his numbers game. But the thing is, you know, I love what we're learning now about in this game of football. He brings that element to the game, and that's a great learning experience.
Yes, sir.
Camber.
Yes, sir.
I spent time with Camber in Vegas with her and Aisha. Those are two females, along with Miss Mary, that know their football. And I'm talking about not saying, well, I like the color of the jersey, X, Y. I'm talking about breaking the shit down the right way. And we all want to see them get in the bigger platform and come on performing and everything like that. And, you know, and I can say, because I'm in New York time, it's 1 o'clock my time. Happy birthday to my big bro, DJ Nix. He keeps me in a cool spot, cool way. I remember 3 years ago, after I was done doing some NFL content with some other folks, good folks and everything, you know, BJ had came out and reached out to me, and, you know, we had some conversation, but we was in Dallas. And, you know, for me to have this experience I'm having today, right now, I thank you, brother. God bless you. You enjoy your birthday. Love is love. And we continue to keep growing.
Yeah, 10-4. I don't like your petty there, I don't like that petty there. I don't like your petty there. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. I know I got Camber for
4 minutes.
Yeah, I got her for 4
minutes. Might as well. You better.
No, it is your birthday. I will join the space after.
Oh, let's go!
Let's go.
Professor, get us up out here so we go over to the space, because I don't know how long she'll be there for the space. So I'm gonna run that way. Go ahead. What you got, O?
All right. Again, great show tonight. Really fun. I look forward to our Friday shows because it's just a little bit more easygoing. People can jump in. If you didn't jump in this time, I advocate every single time. The link's at the top of the chat. It's a little blue bar. Just click it. You can join. You don't have to have your video on if you don't want to. If you're laying in bed next to your wife, like Toxic Tom said he was, and you can still chat, go ahead and just click it. You don't have to have your screen shown. But either way, really appreciate everyone who came through. So Tex Mayo, thank you for stopping by. We Done Boys, Big Game James, again, thank you for joining. Camber, thank you for joining. It's nice to see you. I know Camber last week planned to join, but had some vandalism taking place at her establishment. So sad. Nix, happy birthday to you. Really enjoyed the show. Next Friday, TC915, get your headset fixed. Mendoza, Stephen White, you guys jump in and join. It can be a quick one, ask a question and leave, or you can just hang out. Either way. But yeah. Hope you guys have a great Friday evening. Happy birthday, Nix.
Yeah, appreciate that, Big 10-4. Sunday, the Avengers assemble, 5 p.m. Central.
Avengers?
Yeah, that's what they called it. That's what they called it. That's what they called it.
I don't like Avengers. Understand who you guys are. See, don't get me started with a slander here, DJ. You guys are the kings of cowboy content. CCC. Understand that. Know who you are. Respect who you are. And we're gonna listen to what they're gonna talk about. I can't wait.
Look, man. I'm cool.
I like the Avengers Assemble. MCU. Let's go.
I like the
or Iron Man. Where you guys at? Let's go, Doctor Strange. Everybody.
Kings right here, man. Kings.
Definitely on J Tuck's channel, and apparently we're going to be able to stream to all of our YouTube channels. So if you're following any of us on YouTube whatsoever, you'll be able to catch it. So it's going to be a fire session. I can't wait for it. And of course, every Wednesday you catch us right here during training camp. Every Friday, Freestyle Friday, you like this? Come back on next Friday. We're always in the building. Appreciate y'all. 10 minutes. It's 11:59. I kept y'all for 2 hours and 28 minutes. James, I know you about to get to something, but
Yeah.
If you got time, if you want to join the space and come through the
Nah,
space,
y'all beast right there. I'm gonna go ahead and
gracefully bow
respectfully say I'm done. But I appreciate you. I was looking at that time like, Nick's, here we go. I was looking at 2 hours. I say, here we go. I think he lying to me. Hey, but happy birthday, big dog. I want to tell you that before I get off of here, man. Happy birthday, big dog. Thank you for the invite, Professor O. Thank you for letting me be able to be, great to be able to listen to you guys today. I love listening to you guys. Your guys' knowledge is outstanding. I'm always trying to learn something from you guys. I learned even more today. Just listen, especially Professor O. You be spitting that stuff out like a daggone computer, bro. So I just want to give you mad props on how you be doing it, bro. I got mad props for that. So just, like I said, happy birthday, big dog. I appreciate y'all. And salutes and thank you for everything.
It's a Big 10-4.
And it is officially midnight. So happy birthday, Nick.
Thank you. Officially midnight birthday. And we're officially going to pivot over back to the space. Appreciate you, big dog. Hey, real shit, though. Inbox me on the other side. I ain't forgot about it. Y'all be safe.
Okay. Gotcha.
Catch you on the space. Peace.